You are not alive, so then act like it. Maybe? Am I alive? This says upcoming, but it shouldn't be upcoming. It should be live. They should have just kept the classic, people. Classic works, damn it. I don't know if you guys can hear me. Fuck the new system they got for live streaming. But you gotta learn it because it's what they're gonna be going to for everything. Can you guys hear me? Anyone watching, can you hear me? Terrible. Post, tweet, share. And we should be good. Okay, there's got to be a way to do this. I gave up. So you guys can hear me? Alright, great. Everything should be working. It should be shared out. So people should know that I'm live. Anyways, I want to join in on the anime girl titty streamer thing. As you can see, mine are very nice. Easily amused. How you doing? I haven't watched it yet, but I said, what is with the right eye? Never shave the beard. Hey, Red Fook. Well, I'm gonna be getting on the anime titty streamer thing, so hey, it's $5. Wait a minute, I'm not Bad Bunny. Face rig for the win. Move me over here. Although they're talking, so I don't know if you actually need to be able to see anything. And I set it to 1.25 speed just to make it go by faster. Okay.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Law Splaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, small law firm in central Minnesota. And with me today is Mr. Null of the Kiwi Farms.
Hi.
Kiwi Farms.
How are you, sir?
Awesome.
Pretty good, despite it being very early in the morning. That's okay.
Well, I mean, that's what you keep saying. I'm pretty sure you're just in Wisconsin or whatever. And I don't buy this Europe stuff for a moment.
Well, it depends on who you ask, because the people from Virginia, they keep servicing my mom's old house. She doesn't even live there anymore, but that's where all the papers go, and nothing can persuade them to do anything else. So you're not alone in that.
What papers are all your threats of lawsuits and stuff?
No, all the actual servicing for their soon-to-be thrown-out lawsuit goes to an old house that me and people from my family have not lived in for like over a year now.
Now, is this the Mountain Jews?
Yeah, it's the Mountain Dew. It's my favorite. They've like given up trying to actually sue me, or at this point, yeah, they've given up on that. They're suing the judge for they literally seem to believe that I am a high-ranking Mason, and I am using my Masonic ties to convince the judge to throw out their very, very stable and accurate constitutional complaints against me.
Why?
And
Why? These are special people.
Oh, they've been. Here's the thing. I think they've kind of internalized that the forum's not going away. So they've taken to posting on the forum that they've sued 5 times to try and take down, and they've been arguing for stuff like the world being flat. They've been arguing about their Torah interpretations and all. It's just complete.
Wow, so you've been dealing with these for a while.
Oh God, that's fantastic. I don't know how you find these people, but I do.
They find me.
No, well, I mean they do, but I don't know how that you find them either. But
That's pretty cool,
I do
Victor.
love that the last thing I saw from them was actually on the farms, where they out of the blue were yelling at you and decided to implicate me, and I'm innocent. I'm over here. I haven't done anything, and they're like, "You're just like that lawyer," and I was like, "What? What did I do?"
Yeah, the internet's magical like that. You can just be talking to people who are not even trying to upset anyone. You can just be talking to people who follow you because they want to hear what you have to say, and then they get angry about it. And it's like, I wasn't even talking to you. Why are you upset?
True.
How could you
Holy
even
shit.
muster the energy for this?
It's fantastic to me.
It wasn't a casting couch. It was a backroom area.
What the hell? Anyway, but we're not here to talk about them. We're here to talk about someone else. A very special individual, dear to the internet, and a guy I am really not familiar with at all. So I'm hoping you'll help me out here. A guy by the name of Darkside Phil, right?
DSP,
Darkside
internet
Phil.
Superhero.
Yeah, that's. I spent about 15 minutes today watching some clips of DSP, which is saying something, because that 15 minutes took hours to get through.
It depends on what you watch. There are some things that, I mean, if you just listen to him in his normal streams, they are completely insufferable. The worst thing that he does, and he's been doing it for literally a decade and has never bothered to improve it ever, is he snorts constantly. And it's like if this is your job. Yeah, no, well, yeah, kind of. It's like just like inhaling snot, and it's constant, perpetual, and it's weird because you can tell his
gross.
You can tell his temperament because if he's really angry, he'll snort like aggressively. And
he's like a boar.
Yeah, and
it ain't fraud, dude. I swear.
Like, look, dude, I know it's probably gonna look weird to have like a nasal strip on, but if this is your job and these people listening to you are your clients, get a nasal strip on, and people will forgive it. It'll be like a goof. It'll be like a home. If he wore a nasal strip every day, it would be like a facet of his character that people would draw in fan art. And
he could do he could do like the black markings under his eyes, like he's playing football, to go along with the nasal strip. That would be great. I think that would make him better looking immediately too. The less of him you see, the better.
He's not wrong.
It's just a total and complete lack of concern for his audience, and something that gross and weird and obnoxious is like a clearance. Like nobody could even consider being a fan of this guy unless they can also put up with snorting. So like a huge percentage of the population is just immediately wiped out before any considerations of gameplay or personality are considered. And that's like just the primer on DSP. He's been around for forever, and that's both like an admirable quality and also like just a complete waste of life, depending on how you look at it.
So I looked him up on Twitch, and he's got 84,400 subscribers, which is not subscribers. Sorry, it's Twitch followers. He's got 84,400 followers on Twitch, which is pretty big.
Is this better for you, baby?
But am I to believe that none of these people actually like are legit fans? Is his entire audience just troll?
No, he has a legitimate hardcore fan base that are referred to as the pay pigs.
Yes, he does.
Around a lot, but I think his fan base was the ones that were first hit with the term pay pigs because they are people who are religiously devout to DSP. And to kind of put this into reference or perspective, he invented the concept of let's plays, and technically that's debatable. People, nerds will fucking argue about it, but he was he basically decided one day to point a webcam at his television and record himself playing a game and talking about the game while playing it and posting these videos to YouTube, which was a brand new platform at the time. And he invented that, and to his credit, he was very successful because for a long time he was the only person doing it. You didn't have any you weren't spoiled for choice when it came to watching.
He was the only one doing it. That's why he was so popular.
There was no Twitch. It was just weirdos like Darkside Phil doing it, and that's where he found his success, and he made a lot of money during this early time in his career.
That's fantastic. Like how
have that VTuber
to have that legacy,
trying to get in on all the money, dude.
To just piss it all away. It makes me so happy.
Yeah, well, he's slow to adapt, even though he was like a pioneer in this. One of the things that people will point out is that, for instance, at a certain point in time, as live streaming became more popular, there were innovations to how things were captured. So instead of capturing video game footage off of your TV with pointing a camera at the TV, you could use a capture card to get a high quality video footage. He never adopted the capture card until years after it was common practice. And it's just little stuff like that where he didn't progress. He was a very stubborn person. He always thought. Here's another great example is nowadays on YouTube, videos over 10 minutes get prioritized over small meme videos that are a couple seconds, right?
Sure.
To the point where it's like a meme now to see shitty content creators put out videos that are like 10 minutes and 3 seconds long because there's a hard thing where those are the videos that Google likes.
Yeah, well, 10 to 15 minute window is just, that's the magic.
That's
really?
the bummer. And
So I keep
a
seeing
video
10
that's super long, like nuts and videos, all these documentaries that are like an hour long, they get great SEO as well. And Phil, back in early YouTube, the maximum length for a YouTube video was like 10 to 15 minutes. That was all you could put on the internet. So eventually, when Google, especially after Google bought it out, they lifted these limits over and over again, so you can upload videos however long you want. Well, he's continued to post his videos in 10 to 15 minute snips, and so you'll be watching his gameplay footage or looking at his channel. He has tens of thousands of videos accumulated over years.
Over 60,000 videos in total.
In these very small groups, instead of just doing what everyone else does and having the entire session be a thing. So he's lost like a ton of search engine power over his detractors because he doesn't follow best practices today.
Someone said he had 56,000 videos on his channel.
It's a grotesque amount, and he considers this a point of pride. He's like, I'm not like those other fucking live streamers that are just following every trend as they come up. No, I've been doing things the way I've been doing them since 2006. It's like, okay, on one hand, that's admirable to do something that long, but on the other hand, it's like at a certain point, you're a detriment to yourself by not considering other possibilities, and that's basically the entire DSP saga in a nutshell.
That's amazing. This guy is so weird. He's such a lightning rod.
For stupidity.
The first time I heard of him was people like doing DSP memes in the chat or whatever, and then having to explain it to me later because I'm, an internet boomer, and I have no idea who this guy is. And I never heard of him before. Maybe like a year ago.
1.25 speed.
And then even so, I had only heard of him. I never watched his stuff. I didn't know anything about any of this.
Yeah, he's one of those people who has like a meme, a following that pervades like his actual reputation.
That's right.
It's like
hundreds
Wings of Redemption. You might not have seen anything Wings of Redemption has ever done, but you've probably heard people in chat say, "Look here, look, listen," and that's a Wings of Redemption thing that many people do completely detached from him. Or that Call of Duty meme, press F to pay respects.
Yeah.
Like you probably never played that Call of Duty game, but everyone knows what press F to pay respects is, and it's just one of those weird mimetic things that are more interesting than Phil himself. His personality, as it stands, is kind of egregious. He just is extremely obnoxious and hard to listen to.
He seems huggable, like a pincushion or whatever. Just awful. just absolutely terrible.
Here's how I see him in my head, and it's probably way different than how he is in real life. If you've never seen the movie Forrest Gump has an IQ of something like 60. He's mentally retarded by the rules of the movie. But he falls in love with a very smart girl called Jenny. And throughout the movie, you see Forrest Gump, a man with a very low IQ who just manages to do what he's told and commit to what he wants to do. And those are his only personality traits. And throughout the movie, you're reminded by him and his mother that his mother always said, stupid is as stupid does. And you see that in contrast to Jenny, where Jenny is very smart but acts stupid, so she's the real idiot, as opposed to Forrest Gump, who is stupid but acts smart, so he's smarter than her in the logic of the movie.
Right.
And DSP seems like a very stupid person, and there's nothing wrong with being stupid, but
there's a little bit wrong with it. No, go ahead.
No.
Go ahead, no.
If you're Forrest Gump, you can get away with being stupid. He almost is a Forrest Gump, but he's not successful. it's like if Forrest Gump did the marathon without anyone following him, or playing ping pong without actually being good at ping pong, or starting a shipping company.
Wouldn't it be a bunch of people following him and just telling him he really sucks at running, like the whole time? That seems like a better analogy.
Well, it's because he does suck at running.
I know, but they'd be like, "Why are your knees up so high, you weirdo?" That'd be great. I think they should do that too. They should remake Forrest Gump for the internet.
For DSP. Does he get sent to Afghanistan?
Mom always said.
Of the movie?
Yes.
And
And instead of playing ping pong, he just does heroin. That'll be perfect. So anyway, so we're here to talk about his bankruptcy. Because he's filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy, right?
Yes.
And
somehow succeeds.
Should we start by explaining
$1.7
bankruptcy
million?
is?
I suggested, because I think a lot of people in their head, when they think of a bankruptcy, they think of just you press a button and everything goes away. You lose all your shit and you also lose all your debts, and you're just reset and you have bad credit for 10 years. Here's how I imagine bankruptcy, and you can correct me, but from what I've read, when you declare bankruptcy, you're essentially going to the government and saying, "Government, I have all these assets and I have all these debts, and I don't know what to do anymore. I can't figure this out. I want you to figure this out for me, because I give up." And then at that point, all the debtors have to go to the table so that they can argue over who gets what in the proceedings that the government goes through for you. And during this time, they can't sue you independently. And if for some reason you do something during the bankruptcy that's fraudulent, or they have some reason to throw it out, then all the debtors can start suing you immediately and just start tearing whatever chunk they can get one at a time. That's how it seems to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's two major types of bankruptcy. Phil here is applying for Chapter 7. That's a liquidation, and that's where the government has they come in and they sell off or liquidate whatever assets of yours they can to pay the creditors, and then they discharge whatever unsecured debts there are. A mortgage isn't going to go away from a bankruptcy.
$1.7 million.
A car loan isn't going to go away from bankruptcy. You tend to get to maybe renegotiate or get your payments extended on those because they want their money and it's expensive to foreclose or to repossess stuff. But your credit cards, your personal loans, stuff like that's going to go away. Then there's a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, which is a reorganization, and the reorganization bankruptcy is a little bit different. It makes it so that your debt isn't forgiven, but the court
donate now.
Imposes like a reduced payment plan, a consolidated reduced payment plan per month where you pay off the debt over time. And it could be forever. Like you could be paying it until you're dead, but you will pay back those creditors.
For DSP won't be that much pretty longer, though, with the
sort of interesting thing. And of course, if you do have assets, they will take them to pay the creditors as much as possible if they can. But there are also a bunch of exemptions and stuff like that. And once
I don't know, her eyes are not staying
it,
open. Like,
I mean,
I'm not doing that.
If you win a Chapter 7, or if you get a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, I mean, they can't come after you. The creditors can't do it. They just lose out, right? They just lose their money. But there's qualifications and all of that involved in it. Income requirements. There are exemptions on property because they can't like just take your home and car and all of that stuff from you. You still have to be able to live, and they want you to have a car so you can go to work and stuff like that. And they let you keep business assets up to a certain amount. And it's different for every state, and the feds have their own requirements. It's a real pain in the dick.
Yeah, it sounds like a very technical and not fun aspect of law.
No, it's awful. And remember, the people that you're serving when you're doing bankruptcy law have no money, so you have to get paid upfront in cash typically, because you can't, by the function of how bankruptcy works, you logically can't incur a line of credit or extend a line of credit to them for them to pay you over time, because it would be discharged by the bankruptcy.
You're not wrong.
You see what I'm saying?
So the lawyers who do bankruptcy tend to be scalpers, essentially.
Yeah,
right?
they take money up front. They get very good at knowing how much it's going to cost, and they just say, look, this is what you're going to pay. You're going to come in here. You're going to pay $4,000 we go through your assets or whatever. You're going to pay $4,000. And then we're going to do the bankruptcy. It's going to take this much time, and that's going to be it. But
if you get Chapter 13, yes, he'd get slapped with another payment plan.
Well, before we get into
other
any
payments,
of the nitty-gritty, I have a general question that will be asked probably about 4 dozen times throughout this document. How important is it to get this initial filing accurate?
I love that Johnny K is like, why did my tax guy want the money up front? I don't get it.
I knew this question was coming because a lot of people have been talking about it, and there's some...
Oh, it's the most fascinating...
That's why you're supposed to go over this live.
Because you're reading it and you're thinking, this is bullshit. Everything is questionable.
Homeless people who are naked have more than $500 worth of clothes, right? Like it's for example, that's one of the things. It's fairly important, but generally speaking, what he can do is, if the creditors challenge it, if it becomes an issue, he can amend the filing.
Which costs money.
It just seems to me, because I know a lot of people are hung up on how factually inaccurate it is, but it seems to me that you probably have a little bit of leeway where it's just like, oh, I made a mistake on this, I can change that. I misunderstood this part, I'll change that.
And it's now he has a lawyer, so you get a little less leeway because he's supposed to be advised by competent counsel. But you also you get this thing of, well, how much is this stuff actually worth? Right? Like a house is pretty easy to find out. There's a Zillow, there are appraisers, there's any real estate company can give you just kind of a desk appraisal of your home, and give you a rough idea of how much it's worth. For cars, there's Kelley Blue Book, and you can estimate based on the condition and mileage and year
5,000 miles.
how much your car might
He's
be
on the
worth.
car for 3 years, and he has 5,000 miles.
Electronics, like how much is a TV from 2012 worth? Right, like $8.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a 55-inch TV, but it's not worth anything because what you're gonna get $200 when someone could go to Walmart and for $300 buy a brand new one that's gonna look better, work better, and be in 4K. So it's hard
if
to.
gave a value
you can
to him,
make
even
a
if it was
good
low,
faith argument that you're
but he's like,
properly
I don't have any.
estimating value based on what you think it's actually worth rather than replacement costs.
That's his issue, is that he put down he doesn't have a TV.
But if the creditors want to make it an issue,
or
they
in the
will.
bedroom, or in cat's room.
That's the trick
No,
here.
just-
And there is
there's
some
no TV.
stuff that I think that the creditors may want to look at with Bill, because some of these things I just don't believe it, right?
Yeah.
And it's assets related to his business and electronics and all of that stuff. Apparently, he has no electronics at all, which is great.
Well, that you brought that up. He claims on the thing that he has no collectibles and no electronics, which can be readily disproved by looking at any of his streams in the last 10 years.
He's
Because he
borrowing
has
it.
shit all over the fucking place.
It's just borrowed.
And the paintings.
Well,
He has a lot of paintings.
that's one of the things people are saying. Is he going to claim that he gave it all to his wife? Those are his wife's things, or is he going to try to say that it belongs to an LLC or what? But
Yeah,
to front load this, I want to ask something that many people are curious about, and I think I know the answer. But is there any significant risk of him going to jail for perjury over these filings?
No,
because I don't think so.
it
Over
could
these
technically
filings,
happen.
I doubt it.
Yeah, but not very likely.
The court might say you need to amend this, and if you keep
Like start
screwing,
over.
yeah, if you keep screwing around, we're gonna have to look at this. But man, perjury is it's a tough thing to actually get somebody on perjury, like because the ultimate answer is I didn't lie, I'm just retarded, right? Like
Not wrong with DSP.
That's I wasn't trying to lie. Just like you said earlier, I just didn't understand. Well, your lawyer said this. Well, she tried to tell me, but I just didn't. I just didn't get it. So give me a chance to fix it, and they'll give him a chance to fix it. And really, the difference is going to be, does he qualify for Chapter 7 or Chapter 13?
13.
And
Not
does
7.
the government get to take any of his stuff and try and sell it
Actually, he
off?
might even qualify for
Those
13.
are the two questions that these forms are going to answer, because
what I'm
he's
watching.
insolvent. I mean, that's pretty clear. He doesn't have the money. He qualifies for bankruptcy. The question is, are his exemptions okay? And then does he qualify for Chapter 7 or Chapter 13? That's
He might even
the ultimate question.
Because
Okay, you're getting
the big
annoyed. One
difference is if he's Chapter 7,
He may not qualify for 13. 13 is we give you a 5-year plan to pay what you can. It's like, well, you can only afford a third of what you owe, so we put you on a payment plan where you pay off that third that you can afford to pay across 5 years. But if they look at his things, go, well, you have $133,000 in credit card debt. You made that last year and the year before. And the year before that, you made $150, and the year before that, you made $200. Like, you make more than enough money. Over the next 5 years, you could pay off the whole thing normally. You don't qualify for Chapter 13 because you could pay your fucking debts. He could pay his fucking debts normally without filing for Chapter 13. So he may not even be qualified for Chapter 13, let alone 7, which he makes way too much money to qualify for.
if he meets the poverty requirements for Chapter 7, he can be absolved of his debts. But if it's Chapter 13, even if he goes through the bankruptcy, he still owes everyone their money.
Right. Yep. He will owe them money forever. He'll be court ordered to make payments. Not making those payments can
Fuck him up real bad.
Undo the bankruptcy and then allow the creditors to come in and sue, or pursue other collection efforts and stuff like that. So you have to make your bankruptcy payments every month, or else they will let the creditors run roughshod over you
And
after
destroy you.
a few mispayments. So, it's a mess.
Destroy him.
So should we start going through these things?
Sure.
Yeah,
I think
here we go.
I have a little bit of information about everything he claims, so it might take a while.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes. So here I've got it pulled up. It should be.
Let's see this.
Yeah, it should be on the screen there. And
he won't get jail time,
catch up to
unfortunately.
YouTube in a second. Oh, I do have a bunch of super
yeah,
chats.
Chapter
I should
13 also
hit
has
right
like
away,
a 30 to 40% failure rate because people don't make the
sizable
payments.
ones. So let's get these out of the way as well. Tommy Brews B Reviews says, "Hi Nick, can't watch the show live tonight. I just wanted to say what's up to Null and that Danny Brown is the greatest rapper ever."
Danny Brown, no.
Guys,
him.
click on my stream link and tip me $1 million.
He's not even on.
Out
He's
of
not even
debt.
watching. He can't watch live. So.
Oh.
So
Wait a minute.
I banned him.
I just got home from my
You
full-time job.
okay, good.
I don't need to beg you guys.
Angel of Death DXD says,
want to give me money,
been working
go ahead,
dual
or buy my
8-hour
books.
shifts each day to try and cover this myself, but I'm still in dire need of
I've
some
not seen
assistance.
it yet. This is my first
I'm
time
not
watching
allowed
it.
any more overtime. Thanks. GoFundMe/F/drug-dorm-mates. That sounds like a good story right there. Drug dorm
Yeah, he won't go to
you
jail
guys can
because
check
the
out that
jail can't pay them
GoFundMe if
back.
you want. I don't know anything about it. Nick Sex says, a friend at work asked me about my bestest Nile mug, so I explained who you were and casually recommended your Greer videos as a start. A couple days later, she messaged me on a company Skype. I get you, Nick's Hex. Oni-chan says, Nick, thanks for always thinking of me and telling me how to spend my money. By the way, my boss is still waiting on that solution to the physics problem for a research
go to
proposal.
jail.
Maybe on tonight's stream. Thanks again.
It has happened. It's
I
just
have no
very
idea what
rare.
that's about. I don't know.
Do I still have the picture?
Patrick
of
L
that?
says, would be awesome to hear from It's a Gundam on this subject. Do you know who It's a Gundam is?
Ooh, it's a Gundam.
No, not at all. Never heard of him.
Okay, I've heard of him, but apparently some sort of DSP expert.
Here it
Pepperidge
is.
Farm says, hey Jersh, you remember to feed Chantel this evening? I remembered. I always remember.
Stands for bankruptcy fraud.
Oh, no, I can't escape it. You are one of the worst offenders for
I
perpetrating.
haven't said a word about feeding. I've been holding my tongue.
So you can go to jail for it.
I was going to dump it all in.
Again,
after
it's
about an
rare,
hour
but
when
you
you're
can go to
lulled into
jail
a false
for
sense
it.
of security.
Oh no.
Gotta save that.
And then I was going to make chewing sounds at the mic. I love Adblock says, please talk about King of Pole's dad totally not watching the cheese pizza. No.
Oh, King of Pole, his father was a sheriff in Florida, and he got arrested on child pornography charges.
No.
That King of Pole is very adamant was a false indictment, and that the person just looked underage, but the prosecuting attorney really wanted to get a big child pornography conviction before their election.
She's really a 500-year-old elf or whatever.
Hey, it works for everyone else.
Have you seen? So, just a brief sidetrack into anime. Funimation licensed this show to do a simuldub, and it was called Interspecies Reviewers.
And it turned out to be hentai, and they didn't realize it was hentai.
Brothels of different species, and they do like Yelp reviews of it or something, and it's pretty graphic, right? And they aired I think the first 4 episodes, and then or 3 episodes, and then they canceled it.
Yeah, it was 3.
They canceled the English dub of it, and they said it went against their standards. But it's like, oh my god, it's
pure
great. Have you seen
hentai.
anything about it?
No, I haven't heard of this. The last anime
Like,
I
how do
heard
they
that
not
upset
know
everyone
that?
was Goblin Slayer.
Yeah, Goblin Slayer is funny for its own.
I love Goblin
thing.
Slayer.
But I heard Goblin Slayer is only really like the first episode is
Yeah,
the,
that's from what I understand.
You gotta get
it
past
has
the
like this
first
really
episode.
weird like rape scene in the first bit, and then the rest of it is about the actual goblin slaying.
Yeah, you gotta get past the first bit.
Make no mistake, Interspecies Reviewers doesn't get quote unquote more tame after the first episode. It only goes up from there. It's great, hilarious. I love these stupid anime companies pretending that this isn't what they were buying, right? Like they were buying this idea. And
I'm sure if it was a huge success, Funimation would still be doing it.
And if you see the art, like the cover art for this thing, there's no mistaking what this was. It's so funny.
Here comes the money.
Okay, so anyway,
money.
King of Pole's reasoning was one of the best things I've ever seen. Only Nick Bates' legal strategy was better. So his reasoning is just that it's a big conspiracy, or is there something else to
essentially.
it?
I don't know. It is Florida, man. I give a little bit of credence with that.
You know, I'll say though, prosecutors who make headline convictions make governor.
Get elected.
Yeah, they get elected.
Yeah.
Or they get appointed to judgeships and stuff like that. The prosecutors in Trayvon Martin's case, one of them moved on to a judgeship. Others are, became partners at law firms and stuff like that. You know, they move along well. It's good work. Next is at Zuma99 says, "Hey Nick, here's some whiskey money to help with the blood pressure after having to put up with the mass loss of brain cells because of those Ronversations. Keep up the good work, man. You're awesome." Just so you guys know, Ron has given me at least another show full of Ronversations to share with you.
Ron is one of the Weebors people who are doing like depositions, right?
Yeah, it's Monica Rial's perpetual fiance. And he started DMing me about 2 weeks ago on Twitter, and just pages and pages and pages of DMs, and I'll answer back every now and then, and I just keep calling him names, really. He just keeps sending me stuff. And I'm like, okay, it's pretty great.
He's gonna end up being your king of poll. He's gonna be asking for outlines soon.
Yeah. What he needs to do is ask someone else for therapy. That's what he needs to do, because he needs help. Stooge Muffin Stuffin says, "Nick, please watch Black Lagoon. It's basically what would happen if Tarantino and John Woo joined forces to make an anime. Also, you absolutely have to watch the dub. You're doing yourself a disservice if you don't."
I say I've heard of Black Lagoon. It's pretty fucked up.
Dustin Fritz Farr says, "Hey Nick, it's been a while. I don't know if I missed it.
I thought they were talking about DSP.
Or if you haven't gotten to it yet, but have you gotten a
reading
chance to
over
look at the
their,
SCP copyright debacle? If you have, can you point me to that stream?"
Sorry,
not in
up
depth.
to speed again.
Not
hopefully they'll get back to DSP.
It involves
soon.
Russian trademark. I'm not.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah. Are you familiar with SCP at all?
DSP.
I know the wiki. I hadn't heard of a copyright dispute.
So they use Creative Commons license and all their stuff, right?
Ties it as he wants, but it won't be upheld in the U.S.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like where is this going to apply? But you know, maybe that's a weird thing about international or intellectual property stuff, and specifically trademark. Like if you're under a different system, it matters where you're doing business.
Yeah.
But Snoutfoot says, "Big ups to you and the evil Jewish warlock, more commonly known as Null. Smoke weed and or drink like a Flaviar man every day." So there you go. Thanks. Thank you. Okay. So anyway, let's get into these documents here.
There we go.
So
Back to
we've got
DSP.
the filing. You can see this, right?
I want to get in on that money, greatest
So this is the
shamer.
voluntary petition.
Have you not seen the money that
I did go ahead and I
anime
made a
girls are
good
making
faith
over on
effort to
Chatterbait?
redact any addresses,
They're making more
portions
money
of
than
account
Trump.
numbers, or social security numbers. I mean, there are no full account or social security numbers in the document, so I did try to blank them all out. So hopefully I didn't miss anything. But so these are just the information pages up front. And the first thing that struck me in this is that he has two properties. He has one in King County, Washington State, and then he has one in Connecticut.
Yeah, all the way across the world. That's been a point of contention for a long time in DSP's history. Is that he constantly begs for money and says, "I need this money to pay off my taxes," or whatever his most recent crisis is. And people are just asking him, like, "Why don't you sell the condo in Connecticut?" And,
well, I think it's answered in this document. Right?
Oh yeah, because he's under it.
He's 40K underwater on it. I bet he bought that thing
he is.
like in 2008.
Oh, he had to have. Yeah, to lose $40,000 on a property in Connecticut. Yeah, he bought it at the bubble.
Yep, he bought at the bubble and it fucked him up.
His credit is clearly a disaster.
What up,
so there's no way he was going to refinance that thing. Yeah, it's a mess. So I'm guessing he probably was making more money a couple years ago, right?
Yes, I think his finances have always been in decline since the height of his thing. I don't think he's ever had any kind of rise.
Yeah,
but
kind of.
He makes a lot of money. He makes an amount of money that I'm enviable of, because it's something like, I mean, it's not insignificant.
I really
it's
do.
always like,
I need
going
that
by
money.
his filing,
My bills.
he makes $4,000 a month.
yeah, good
And then
money.
his wife makes an additional like $1,200 a month, something like that.
She works part-time at Kroger, and that was a funny thing, is seeing that in the document, because people had been speculating that she worked at that Kroger for a while, and he always denied it, but then he had to write it in this document. He was very, by the way, he was very, very unhappy about having this be public. And one of the things, when he announced the bankruptcy, he told his story about talking to the lawyer, I think before he found the bankruptcy attorney, and his main concern in his storytelling about meeting this lawyer is, how do I keep people on the internet from finding this? And the lawyer's just like, they're going to find it. There's nothing you can do.
It's
public
public
record. People are going to
records,
find it. And he was extremely unhappy about that.
And see, even before he started to move the rent,
I mean,
he was
if
going
he's very
downhill.
unhappy about us talking about it, he is welcome to come on my show.
Because he's an idiot.
I would love to have Phil on. We can talk about it.
No chance in hell. I don't think he's ever
Gee,
once
I'm losing millions of viewers.
entertained any
go get this
offer
house.
to come onto a third party environment where he can't like shut people down and have a conversation. I don't think he's ever done that.
Oh,
He's not.
well, he's welcome to start.
He runs
too.
away.
Like, I'm just
screaming
saying,
in
if he
terror.
has an issue, he could come on and I'll
as soon
show
as the
my
stream
cat
was done,
for
like
free
3
or
o'clock in
whatever,
the
so it'll be
morning,
fine.
his time is all.
Sounds fair.
Oh, something hit me, guys.
I do
Give me
see a lot
money.
of people in the chat saying that's if you believe what he says about his income, and yeah, that's the problem that Phil's going to face is that you can kind of check his income, right? Like we can figure out with some level
His
of
wife's not always working.
idea
She
how
works
much money
3 days
he's
a week. She
making.
works Friday,
Yeah,
Saturday, Sunday.
what he lists in this document is very much in line with what people on the forum have been speculating for months, is that he's making tons of money, more money than he's saying.
Technically, she works at Fred Meyer, but it's a
and he'd
company
almost
that's
have to.
owned by Kroger.
With a channel his size, I can't imagine not. But I mean, I don't know how many actual subscribers he has on Twitch at any given time.
The person, I think it was Soap Queen, it might have been actually, what they did is they went through and they meticulously counted all the bits, all the subscriptions. They counted everything, and they put up a thing that said, I think he makes about $4,000 a month, and it exactly matches what he says on his forums.
But so he doesn't make any other money though? Like he's got to do something else. What
He's
about? Does he not have a YouTube channel?
No. Well, he does, but I think he's banned from AdSense. I think that's one of his
banned, but he
sagas,
got
that
it
he
back,
did
but
something, and he's been on and off AdSense. He's
hiding a lot of his stuff.
because he got his start way back when he was part of an MLM, and they did the AdSense for him, or they just monetized his channel and cut him a check that was fixed income. Like that's been a huge. I think he got banned off AdSense at some point, and he tried to do it with like a company to make a new one. He's like it's a mess. I don't think he has AdSense though. He has a Patreon.
He does.
He has a Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
How good's his Patreon?
Was that the $1,200 a month?
Snorted when I asked.
Oh, did I? No, sorry, I was reading chat because everyone was yelling at me.
They're saying 8 to 10K a month.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I don't know why I said 4,000.
Because that's what's in the document.
That's what's net. That's what's net. It's 10,000 minus the 5,000 expenses.
There's no way he has $5,000 in expenses.
No, he does not. He spends
maybe
maybe
with the
$500 a month.
I guess, but
between games, electricity,
his expenses are a funny thing to
maybe
go through.
$500.
Because they're not just funny because it's him. This is something
he does make
that
money, but it's not that much. It's only a couple
when you
thousand
sit down
a month.
to do this stuff and you try and value out your life for like life insurance policies or for homeowners insurance policies, and you really get into the math of like how much your stuff is worth and how much it would cost to repair, we way underestimate.
If Kevin had been on there, that would have been amazing.
Like I'm sitting next to. I mean, I've got these bookshelves behind me, but those are all like collector books, so I'm not going to count those. But like on either side of me are these bookshelves. And I mean, you got hundreds of books on them. And you have to imagine that the replacement cost of each one of these books is at least $5, right? So I'm sitting next to thousands of dollars worth of books, but it doesn't feel like thousands of dollars because it's just like little crappy books, right? It doesn't come across that way. When you look at your underwear drawer, you don't think, well, that's like $300 worth of underwear. You just acquire it over time, so it builds up. Or socks, dress shirts, $30 a shirt, $50 a shirt.
Point. It's fancy
that's if you
pay for
dress
everything.
cheap like me.
Water expense, but he doesn't
think
shower
some of his
any.
expenses and
I'm sorry, he
assets
showers
just
once
grossly
a week.
understated.
Yeah, and
we gotta get that water expense,
that I
dude.
mention certain things. I'm waiting for the appropriate time to mention certain things.
We're getting there. We've got a long road.
It's a long stream, yeah.
$500 to fleshlights.
Hey Becky, how you doing?
Okay, so he's this is interesting. So he says he's not a sole proprietor of any full or part-time business.
That's wrong.
But he is.
Automatically, off the bat, wrong. He has Brunel Industries, a sole proprietorship in the state that he's filing his bankruptcy in.
Okay, so that's a problem.
Yes.
That is actually
a
problem.
huge problem.
The court's going to be probably pissed about that. I mean, again, they're not going to.
That's what that name is. Yes, exactly.
But if someone points that out to the.
I knew she looked familiar, but I couldn't think of the name. It's
Donato. It's like, how do you not know? Like, how could you possibly? Because he talks about it constantly that he runs a business, dude. He runs a business, dude.
Yeah.
How do you not know that you own a sole proprietorship? Because presumably it's been open for years and he continues to pay to have it.
It's not an LLC though.
No, it is a sole proprietorship.
So he just flat out
immediately, right off the bat, first checkbox, wrong, demonstrably wrong. Can prove it's wrong in 30 seconds.
Oh god, so he's not. Yeah, because that would be a mess. Do you own or have any property that is a threat of imminent and identifiable hazard? Oh, excuse me.
No, I don't think so. There was some drama with his Connecticut property, but I think that's fine.
I received a briefing from an approved credit counseling agency. Okay, so you got to seek credit counseling before you can file bankruptcy, which is very minimal. It's like a phone call. Are your debts primarily consumer debts? He says yes.
I'll go with
but I don't think his debts are actually primarily consumer debt. Well, I guess
yes,
rather than business.
Do you want to know?
debts.
Do you want to know what all his debt is?
Well, I was saying real estate is more of a debt than his revolving.
Is that considered? I thought it would be like floating like credit card debt.
I think this is just consumer versus business based on this.
Even then, like his house his properties aren't business properties. He doesn't rent out the Connecticut property, I don't think, and he can maybe claim that he has a home office, but that's not half the expenses of his mortgage. It's I think it's all consumer.
Yeah. I when I was initially reading it, I was thinking consumer as revolving versus.
Can't be Krillin. This person has hair.
But it's consumer versus business. So no, so that's correct. Filing Chapter 7. Do you estimate that any exempt property is excluded and administrative expenses are paid? That funds will be available to distribute unsecured creditors. So after, they take out exempt property, is there going to be any money or assets left over to pay creditors? He says no. How many creditors do you estimate that you owe? 1 to 49. I want to see this guy. More than 100,000 creditors. That's my goal.
That would be impressive.
This is my goal in life, is to get there.
That's such a weird thing. It's like, how much money do you have? Like $1 to $1 million, then $1 million to $2 million, and it just goes up and up. It's like, who is going to be checking even the second tick box unless they're like a major corporation?
Yeah, that's what you're running into is corporations with lots of corporate creditors. But I mean, still, more than 100,000 creditors is a lot. How much do you estimate your assets to be worth? So he says between 100 and 500,000.
That's probably correct.
Yeah, just based on the real property. How much do you estimate your liabilities to be? 100 to 500,000.
I don't know, between the
again with the real property.
condo, Connecticut condo,
his
car,
consumer or his credit card
stuff.
debt
It's
is
probably
just
more over 500,000.
That's huge.
That's a sad story. Sad story. So he does have a lawyer, Rochelle Sheffield. I have to say this. Just please don't bother that lady.
She appears to be one. I think we looked it up, and her flat rate for something like this would be like $1,500 for filing a bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Here's the thing that people are curious about.
That's how
because this document is bullshit. It's just wrong. Starting off with the sole proprietorship, and it makes you wonder: is she bad or is he lying to her?
He's lying to her.
She probably just said, here's a piece of paper that'll tell you how to calculate this stuff out. Go fill in the blanks. You
think so? And then he just filled it out as he would, and then she signed off on it without.
It's a $1,500 flat rate, man. That's like even an inexpensive lawyer. That's so $1,500 that's going to carry him through the entire bankruptcy, right? It's got to be an upfront amount. So you're talking 5 hours of work at $300 an hour, 6 hours of work at $250 an hour. That's not a ton of work that she's going to be putting.
I should be asking the audience questions because the audience probably knows more than they do.
So likely they'll have an initial conversation. She'll counsel him on how to calculate up these things, answer any questions that he might have about the categories, and then send him on his way to do his stuff. It's not really her job to make sure that he does everything. Honest. Yeah, but he's honest. If she doesn't know he's being dishonest, that's not really her responsibility. She should make some sort of effort, but it's really hard to pin a lawyer on, my client lied. It's not really I didn't know they were lying. So I would wager she's just,
that'd be hilarious.
This is not a slight, that she's just not attentive to what he's saying.
Cat just made me this hot chocolate for my stream.
She's just going to file the document that he puts in front of her. And then if she has to make any arguments about it, she'll make the arguments or advise him further if that comes up. So.
Yes, this was different. No glasses.
So here we go. We got the Schedule A and B of property. Total real estate is valued at $405,501. He's got total personal property, $22,114.35. And again, I find it very hard to believe that someone with $400,000 worth of real property only has $22,000 worth of personal property. That's just because that's including a car. That's worth $15,000 according to him.
Shit.
Well, that depends on the equity. If I have to take issue with this claim that everyone has $500 worth of clothes. I have one pair of pants and 3 shirts and a couple pairs of underwear. I have like 20 pairs of socks.
Yeah, but you're a monk or whatever.
Okay, I'm just saying that if I owned a $400,000 house, I would probably still have a bed and a suitcase that I never unpacked. That would be me, because that's when I lived in Ukraine. That was basically my situation. I had this nice big dresser that I never filled out because I just lived out of my suitcase.
So you wouldn't put anything on the walls, not posters?
No, my walls were completely barren. The only decorations I had were like weird Ukrainian trinkets that the owner left there.
Let me see. You wouldn't have books.
He makes more than that.
You don't own books.
Cheers, subs, and tips. He makes more than
no computers, no
but he
only
counts tips as money.
Okay, that's the fun part. Is wondering. Okay, he definitely has an entire room in his house full of shit that he should be putting on this bankruptcy. Because if those creditors come, that's the room that they're going to be liquidating on eBay to try and make some of this money back. Because it is like collectibles for the last 20 years. It's all this Mortal Kombat shit, all these action figures, all these legit collectibles that may have appreciated in value over time.
With 15 grand.
No mention of.
Yeah, that's well, they're owned by his LLC, I'm guessing.
or Cat. That's the question. Is he legit going to try and say, oh no, these aren't my man-child toys. These aren't my PS4s. These aren't my TVs. All this Cats. It's all Cats.
You know what's interesting is Washington a community property state? Washington.
To elaborate, community property is. Hold on. For those of us who don't know, obviously I would know this.
I hate. It's one of the few remaining community property states. Items considered marital property are generally split equally. So that means that she automatically owns half of what he owns, except for stuff that he brought into the relationship. Shit. When did he marry this chick?
Like a couple months ago. He married her and then immediately filed bankruptcy.
Maybe he married her, gifted her a bunch of stuff. It's filing.
The courts will see.
That doesn't always work. That
doesn't
might be
work.
Improper transfers. But that'll be interesting to see.
April, someone in the chat says.
April? That's when they got married. That's not her name.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. April of last year. So he's been married for he's coming up on a year. We got to congratulate him. Total personal property, $22,114.35. Okay, now, I know... Okay, look, I get the austerity angle, right? And you know more about DSP than I do.
Yeah,
and
but
chat
his wife
knows
needs
way
the
more.
car.
Is this a man who doesn't own anything?
We have not yet.
That's the question. Is this
what
a
he
man?
owns is again going to be his man-child room and his toy and his electronics.
So you don't think he owns other stuff though, like like a suit? He maybe owns a suit.
No. In fact, a joke in the thread is that we are curious if he's going to show up in court in his wedding suit, because we don't think he has any other kind of like formal clothing.
Where's all this money going? He has 130 grand in credit card debt.
Do you want to know?
Do
you want to know where the money goes?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Can you handle this?
I can handle so much more than I think.
The top autists of the Kiwi Farms have spent innumerable hours researching this topic.
Is this better?
Why is Kiwi Farms the funniest website on the planet?
Because Kiwi Farms is the best website.
Truth is funnier than fiction. That's why.
That's true.
We believe that $40,000 of this, around that range, went into a mobile gotcha game about WWE.
Yes, he has to appear on the March 5th. If he doesn't appear, it gets thrown out.
That he was developing or that he was playing?
That he was playing. He doesn't develop things. He doesn't make things that gain in value. Are you joking?
So, I didn't think it would gain in value.
Yes, he has to appear or
he developed a game and it just tanked. Like he just dumped 40 grand into some sad program.
Darkside Phil used to be a competitive player of Mortal Kombat or whatever. Somebody's gonna get mad at me and say, no, it wasn't Mortal. It was a fighting game. It was a fighting game, like all the fighting games that people love. And he was never a winner. The closest he got to winning was 4th place on this weird cartridge for a Mortal Kombat game that half the competitive players boycotted the tournament for. Evo. And Street Fighter. Okay, he was 4th at Street Fighter Evo like 10 years ago, and he got 4th, and he still puts that in like his professional profile that he was a world champion Street Fighter Evo player or something. And
Maddox was a self-professed good at Street Fighter player also.
Okay. But he's been desperate for a long time to be a winner, and we believe that in this WWE fighting game on mobile that you can pay to be a top one, because he came in like 4th worldwide in like the season for last December. He came in 4th because he put in so much money that he just wins by default because he has the best champions that would take like thousands of hours of grinding to get naturally. And
so you're alleging that he took out roughly $40,000 in credit card debt to pay for a mobile microtransactions on one game.
I don't have any tailor-made suits, but I have a few suits that I put together.
We really couldn't believe that he would call this my account. Suits. They call me DSP, which is like the same account name he uses everywhere. And it's like, this has to be like a joke. But then it's like, how can it be a joke if it's $40,000 worth of shit? Did someone have a whale account that they renamed? Can they do that? Like, we went through all the steps, and then we started looking at the last online time, and it synced up perfectly. Last online right before the stream, last online right after the stream. And you could see him sometimes during streams pulling out his phone and playing on his phone during like his streams. And you're wondering, like, what the fuck is he doing on his phone? Like, who is he talking
playing
to?
The
He doesn't
game.
have friends.
He's playing a video game, then stops playing a video game.
His life can't be this sad.
It is very
it
sad.
This is because there's no other possible.
And it only gets sadder.
It's just he wanted to be the winner. He wanted to be number one. He wanted to be the best fighting player for Street Fighter or whatever the fuck. And he came in fourth on a cart that nobody played. And that was his legacy. And now it's like he can pay money to be a winner in this game. And we think that's why he's so addicted to it.
Oh my god, that can't. Oh, good. I wonder.
Hey, there, yes. People said men in suits.
Damn, that would be great. Right? What if the court could auction off his
mandated eBay auction for They Call Me DSP on mobile WWE.
So what you can't do, you can't sell or trade those accounts, unfortunately.
Like, there'd be someone out there who'd like, if they could take over DSP's account, that'd be great.
I'm sure there's a whale out there who really wants that game. It's like, whoa, this is like a $40,000 account. I can spend $10,000 right now on eBay.
Yeah, but you know, like, you could crowdfund and channel the autism into the meme of buying DSP's account, and it'd be even funnier.
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, it would be. Can you imagine how sad he would be if he lost that fucking mobile game? That's been because he has like $10,000 of debt that he's just accumulated over like a decade, right? That has no value. It doesn't make him happy. It doesn't spark joy. Damn. It's just debt. And and when you get depressed like that, you impulse buy. And we think that a lot of the WWE shit is just impulse buying. But
that's not
taking that from him, he can't even be number 4 in fucking WWE mobile gacha.
Oh my god, that's sad. Gerard Hanna says, "Oh my God, Nick, did Nancy Pelosi violate 18 U.S.C. 2071 by ripping up Trump's speech?" I can tell you no. Let's see. So whoever willfully and unlawfully
closely for the WWE champions,
or
it has to be him.
To do so, or with intent to do so, and carries away any record.
I can't imagine someone on Kiwi Farms going, "Yeah, I'm living in a van down by the river, but I spent 40 grand to make DSP look like an idiot on WWE champions."
Or in prison not more than 3 years or both. No, because one, what she did is almost guaranteed to be protected under free speech. The very act of destroying your opponent's
opiates.
Written
explain why his back issue was suddenly cured
is going to be protected speech. And 2, there's another copy. So no. Long story short, no. If you can burn a flag, you can rip up the president's State of the Union speech. Samurai Zenji says gets wrong on documents. DSP says no. You see, actually, the truth of the matter is, the bottom line is this: the reason why I'm in debt is because of Tevin. It's Tevin's fault, dude.
Hey, Baron.
Also, how are you guys doing? So who's Tevin?
Tevin is a black guy that DSP really hates.
He hates a black guy?
Yes, that's right. There's some history between them. Tevin will stream DSP stuff and talk over it and make fun of him, and
he
DSP literally accuses him of stealing content. And the really funny thing is that there's all these people who hate DSP.
Yeah,
who hate DSP and who really try to hurt the guy. Tevin is just it's just a black guy, and he does a reaction to DSP stuff. And for some reason, DSP hates Tevin more than everyone else, more than the people who actually fuck with him. And it's kind of like DSP. You don't hate Tevin because he's black, do you?
Is he does he go after him on copyright stuff and stuff like that?
I think so. I would wager yes, but I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Oh boy, I saw DSP. I was watching a video clip of him making cup noodles.
Yes, that's a famous one because he can't conceptualize the utensils you need to eat a cup of ramen.
Yeah, he had like a towel with like a whole bunch of spoons on it. I don't know what was going on with that.
Oh, sorry, I was reading chat because people are angry.
No, they're not angry. I don't think the chat's not angry.
They're saying that DSP says he wishes he could sue Tevin for copyright infringement, but he hasn't had the money for it. But I'm thinking you were asking more about the YouTube copyright system abuse.
Tevin gets way more views and money than DSP does. It's hilarious.
Because you can make someone's day terrible on YouTube through the copyright system without ever going to court or proving anything.
It's a mess. YouTube is fucking awful.
Yeah.
For that.
At some point, that's gonna come back to him. Okay, but the total of all property, 427 grand. So then we've creditors who have secured or claimed secured by property. Oh my God.
Oh, he got Tevin banned on Twitch. That seems
rude.
Yeah, because I bet you what it is that he complained to Twitch staff like, oh, he's bullying me, and I think Twitch has weird rules where you can't restream someone else's stuff and comment over it. Like you can't do live reactions like that.
Gamer.
You can't I think partners are restricted from really going after other partners or disparaging them or anything.
Yeah, and if you're a smaller channel, you can't punch up at all because you'll get shit on.
Twitch partners, dude, they really don't like that.
Okay, so secured claims. So these are going to be the mortgages on his property. 347,666. With the bulk of that being on his main property, although he's not underwater on his main property, he's only underwater on the Connecticut property. And then we have unsecured claims. He has 15 grand, and that's his tax lien. And then he has the rest of it, $131,550, and this is all like credit card debt, from what I could tell. It's like all credit
It's pretty
card
fucking
debt.
crazy.
It might also be a car.
Now the car would be on the secured property.
Oh, okay.
That's my fault. I think I
can't imagine
estate,
owing
it
that
also,
much in taxes.
Anything that's going to have a lien on it,
and then that
your
much
car,
in
your
credit
house,
card debt.
those things are going to be
because you didn't pay your
He
taxes, so
probably
you threw
has
them on your credit
10,000 in each
cards.
card, and he's just maxed them all out.
Well, he goes through the individual
Lynn,
amounts
how's it
on
going?
every card.
Okay.
So we can look at that. His income, him plus his spouse, he claims $5,077.92, and expenses are $5,112.99. So he's insolvent here by his claim. The other thing, so the way Chapter 7 works is the test is apparently whether or not you are below the median household income for your state. That's how you go. Let's see, state median income chart.
That's
the
like
Washington State
65,000.
Department of Social and Health Services.
I
So
think.
median income for two in the family, oh, look at that, is $5,541. So he's below it by, just under $500.
Yeah, and people speculate that that is very intentional. Like he's somehow feng shuied this to represent his income just low enough to pass for Chapter 7. Because if it was any higher, he wouldn't have this more lenient bankruptcy available to him at all.
Right, and that is the one risk he runs with this is that Chapter 7 will draw increased scrutiny from the court, and if his creditors are paying
And the creditors
attention
will
and
show
know
up.
who he is, if they have any,
Minifirst Bank's
if he's
already said
more
they're
than just
showing
a
up.
faceless number to them, which
And I
he
think
might be,
Citibank owes 26 grand
it's,
too.
it is possible
They're
that they
showing
could
up.
raise issue with that.
I can promise you that every point of contact for every creditor that he has listed on this has already gotten 20 emails from people saying like, hey, you need to read this thread. And I'm not saying that I have encouraged that. And I've tried to quell people calling for action to do stuff like that. But there's no point. The people who don't like DSP really don't like DSP.
Well, you can't tell
Good
the
point. He didn't
internet
actually
what
pay
to do.
anything.
Like
Yeah,
you just can't. They do the
Goes their
opposite almost all
nipples.
the time. That's just how it goes. I've tried to tell people that lately, because not telling them what to do. I've tried to tell them, look, if you try and tell people what to do, they're going to not do it. They're going to do what you don't want them to do, specifically because you told them not to.
Pretty much. That's how the
there's
internet
no
works.
people
That's how
understand
life works.
Okay, so primarily consumer debts. So we're going to have to go. Consumer debts are those incurred by an individual, primarily for a personal, family, or household purpose.
Yeah,
There you go.
$26,000
I wonder
on
if he,
one card.
I wonder if on
They're
his
sending a
taxes
lawyer
he
out.
tried to write off that 40 grand as a business loss.
Well, he might have a better claim for that, except that he used to stream mobile games because you can do that now. There's an app where you can stream stuff to Twitch from your phone. But he doesn't stream WWE Legends because I think people
Champions, not Legends.
catching on to the fact that he was a whale, and they made fun of him for it. And people were like, "Why are you begging for Twitch donations when you're spending all this money on this gacha game?" People don't like watching it anyways, But if he had been streaming that game consistently, he could probably write it off as a business expense because it's like a
DSP must be watching me on his day off.
No,
Right, but
Hi,
then he-
DSP.
But then that would be, that would be a business debt, and so that would cause him trouble if he did
Oh, really?
that. Well, it would change the filing here, right? He's got consumer debts versus business debts. He said he doesn't own a sole proprietorship, so that if he did, he'd be going to Chapter 11 bankruptcy as a business potentially, which would have all sorts of different stuff going on.
Chapter
in
11 goes on forever.
Okay, I have a question. Is he going to go into detail more about his real estate? Okay,
Yeah.
because I have a question about that.
Yeah, we're getting there. So he's got his tax debt here. So from the statement of your current monthly income, total current monthly income
Don't
from
say
the
that,
official form
Bastion.
122A, he's got $5,733.01. Is that over here? Here's the current statement. So he's got gross receipts. He's got 9234.53, and then ordinary and necessary operating expenses for his business. $5,243 for his business.
Yeah, I think
Which is
that's like a
bullshit.
general number. It doesn't break down any further because people have been speculating for 100 pages now. What the fuck? $5,000? Because the forum is big. I rent half a rack in a data center. I have 4 different servers. I have a network router, and I have all these different LLCs. I have all this other shit that I buy every month, and it's under $1,000 a month. So what the fuck is he buying in his house to operate a live streaming thing out of?
Yeah, I mean,
It's $5,000.
Well, have you considered possibly that he's building a new computer every month?
Because my computer isn't $5,000.
Let's see what else we have in this document. I just skimmed this one I skimmed this one to make sure there wasn't anything I needed to redact. So he's got total current monthly income.
And here's
Yes,
the
he's got
thing.
$39.90.69 plus $17.42.32 for his wife. Multiplied by
and
12.
because he claims he doesn't have a business right, but yet he's claiming business expenses. That was another thing that people were really like,
yeah,
what's he doing?
That's a little bit weird because those business expenses should come out of his LLC. They shouldn't come out of his personal.
He doesn't have an LLC.
Well, he didn't say that. He said he doesn't have a sole proprietorship.
I don't think he has an LLC though. I think it's just him and the sole
He's
proprietorship.
sole proprietor.
Yeah, I believe you.
According to
I'm just saying, like, he could have an LLC or something like that.
According to the website,
he's only said no on the sole proprietorship if he was classifying the entity in some other way. But if it's not a sole proprietorship, then it's got to come out of the entity, not out of his personal account. That's all I'm getting at here.
The most expensive thing I can imagine him legitimately having a claim for in regards to his live streaming business is that, which is not a business, as he likes to say, it's not a business, dude. Is he gets DDoS attacked while live streaming, which brings down the stream. So what he's done is he has a very fancy setup, an enviable setup, where he has 2 business level connections for like probably 100 megabits for each upstream. And if one stream gets DDoS attacked, he can switch quick as possible over to the next line and change his IP address and be fine.
That's just a couple $100 a month, like 200.
Probably not even a tenth of that number. So I mean, really, you got to wonder what the fuck $5,000 comes from.
Yeah, so here he's got his current monthly income details. July, he was $8,200 in income. His expenses were $9,000. Good job.
That makes no sense.
August, $10,000 in income, $5,400 in expenses. September, $8,200, and then $3,150.
Anyways,
October, $9,800, and
Chapter
then
13 ends after 5 years.
So yeah, I mean,
Chapter 11
wait a
goes
minute.
on.
How did he
forever.
get this? He gets this number by having this massive loss here in, or by having this loss here in July. Because
that's another thing that people bring up is that this is to factor this number, he specifically shows these 6 months, and I don't know if that's a part of the form or what, but it really seems like if you check the dates, it's a very specific time range, and people wonder if he had picked different months, if it would be a completely different number, if there's a specific expense.
This is why he had to make sure the
and his income went down.
Bankruptcy was filed by January 31st.
If he picked other months,
if he waited one more day,
it would have been.
He wouldn't have been able to claim that July
expense. A completely
expense.
different set of math for the entire
if he
form.
wouldn't have had the July loss on there, I mean, you're talking that's an additional $4,000 to $5,000 of income, right? So let's see, we've got plus 54 10.51 plus 4269.05 equals divided by 6. Yeah, but if you multiply that by 5, and then we add 867.65, and then we divide by 5.
Yeah, sorry, but
yeah,
that's why I looked the exact same LLC, because if he's not a sole proprietor, then what the fuck is his business under?
It would be without that 1 month. Maybe it doesn't bring.
But if you had an LLC, Kiwi Farms would have found it by now.
1.78 plus.
Twitch pays them on the 15th, YouTube pays them on the 20th to the 22nd, depending on weekends.
Yeah,
so your heritage is showing, Nick.
Sorry. I have to figure it out. So yeah, if you take off that July amount, he's making $49.62.36 a month. So it's an additional $1,000 a month that gets taken off by that. That's a mess. So what do we have here?
And that's literally,
What's
if
the
you think
price
about it, that specific loss and how that adjusts the balance sheet is the basis of the entire filing. If that number is off, if his money is...
He can't helicopter, but he probably does.
He can't claim Chapter 7. Because from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, Chapter 7 is for people who don't make much money, who incur a tragedy, a catastrophic loss of finance, usually hospital bills, their car gets fucked, something like that. And then they can save themselves by filing for the special Chapter 7.
To save themselves.
And he is essentially taking advantage of it for gratuitous personal spending.
Yes.
I'm sorry, what's the question?
Oh, I mean, is that right? That in the eyes of the court, he's taking advantage of something not really for his situation?
I mean, I think the court's going to have a lot of questions about these expenses.
They better,
anyways.
They
should. What the hell are you spending this much money on? Because this looks suspicious. It looks calculated, like you say, to come in just under. I mean, the fact that his income plus her income comes in just within a couple $100 of.
Well, speaking of Pendley, what if he pays her like $3,000 a month to keep her quiet?
Highly
Guys,
suspicious.
I have. Come on, Judge.
I think the court's going to want an
I
accounting.
got to pay my extra $3,000 a month, or she'll talk to Kiwi Farms.
Spending this on?
But if she talks to
the creditors
Tevin,
should
dude,
be
she'll ruin my
asking,
life. She talks to
take into account,
Tevin.
Where are these expenses that he's claiming here?
Even not the credit. I mean, the creditors probably will, because if they just stop at this first point of contention and say you don't qualify for this because you make too much money, you have to do Chapter 13. Then he has to refile his Chapter 13, and that's not what he wants. But there's a name for the adversary. Like the government has an adversarial relationship to Phil in this instance, right? And he has someone who is going to be looking at this and being no bullshit about the numbers. And is there what's the name of that position?
The trustee.
The trustee. So the trustee has a job of looking at this and questioning its validity, right?
Yeah, the trustee acts as like a liaison between the bankruptcy estate and the creditors, and then the
court's better do that.
They can take or
he's probably hiding a lot of money in there.
Do so, but again, the remedy is going to be.
It probably is Arizona made gamer.
You have to assume that he doesn't.
She was probably like, "No, I'm done. I'm out of here." Like that's why she's never talked.
He may be lying about his expenses coming from a business.
Sounds like Gina probably offered her a lot of money
in there. If he doesn't have the money, they can't take it. You know what I mean?
Oh, he's got equity in his Washington condo, and that's another thing that I'm saving.
I've not heard that yet.
Equity in his Washington condo.
He does, because it's appreciated in value.
So you're saying that the amount that he put down for the value is
it's like
Washington condo.
It's like 50 grand lower.
No. There's a lot. Okay, there's a lot. There's something special about the Washington condo to say, and about the Connecticut condo that he lied about twice.
Okay. Well, let me just say one thing. I looked up the exemptions for Washington State, and because the exemptions really do matter on bankruptcy, and Washington State has where did it go? They have an equity
exemption. And they got to know that he's hiding assets with the way he lied.
In equity.
Yes.
On the condo.
And at some point, I don't know if we're there yet. I think this is it. Is this the Washington condo that I'm looking at? No, this is the Connecticut condo.
Connecticut, yeah.
There is a checkbox, and I don't know. I think it's probably above this, and I missed it. But it specifically asks, "Are you dealing with a bankruptcy, or not a bankruptcy, but a foreclosure at the current moment?" And he says no. But the answer is yes, because the bank in Connecticut has filed a foreclosure on his Connecticut property, and that's what prompted his investigation into filing bankruptcy to begin with. But he hasn't responded to the foreclosure in Connecticut. So we're curious on the forum if that is deceptive to say that you're not facing a foreclosure. It specifically says, I think the wording is, "Are you party to a foreclosure?" And he says no, but he is. He just hasn't responded to it yet.
There would be a question on whether or not he's been properly served notice of the foreclosure.
Like I think it's on the records already.
Well, you can. There could be notice of the foreclosure out there. You could know about it, but if they haven't, and I don't know, it would depend on if they've properly, under the law, served it upon you. So it depends on when they did the foreclosure, if they followed the steps correctly and all of that stuff, if he was properly notified. If he's not, he could know about the foreclosure but not have effective service, and then legally claim that he's not party to it yet.
He's acknowledged the foreclosure in Connecticut on stream, by the way. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and that, do you remember in the Maddox lawsuit, though, Asterios, he tweeted out the first page of the lawsuit, right? The lawsuit when Maddox sent it, but they didn't actually serve Asterios the paperwork at the time that he tweeted it out. He downloaded it, or someone downloaded it and sent it to him from the New York court website. He hadn't been served, so he knew about it. He acknowledged it, still service wasn't actually effective until
that's funny, because I know the U.S. has very strict rules on servicing, but I didn't know you could say I know this is happening, but
until they actually get the document to you in the appropriate way.
And DSP hides in his house, so
it's very funny.
How do you serve a guy that won't leave the house?
Be pretty good about service of bankruptcy notices because they're so strict on it, especially with the 2008 stuff. The courts got so strict over the past decade, really, on how they deal with banks, because they regarded how the banks were acting as scummy, and it's so prejudicial to have someone's home get taken from them. So they really tightened up this stuff and provided a lot of consumer protection. I'm not saying he wasn't served, but it's that would be one plausible explanation as to how he could legitimately claim it. But
Jimmy claimed that he hides in his house so they can't serve him.
Is $125,000 of equity in the principal residence. So that's the maximum he can claim.
Nah, according to him, it was his lawyer coming over.
Secondary residence, but his
which makes no sense because he only paid her $1,200.
This is the Connecticut property here, and that is, as we'll see in a little bit, that is underwater by a good amount, something like $40,000.
And the bank owns that debt outright, so they're going to want that money.
Yeah, well, they have basically a security up to the value of the home, and then everything else would be unsecured debt. So it'll be handled like a credit card, that $40,000. So if he gets Chapter 7, that'll go away if he surrenders the property. So this is his.
He can't answer the door, dude. He has his headphones on, so he can't hear the door, dude.
I thought it was I didn't know if it was a condo or whatever, but it's a freestanding home.
I love face
current
rig.
value is $344,890 from Zillow, which he says $379,000 less 9% cost of sale of $34,110. So
that's another thing that people were curious about. Is that there is the
lawyer.
Sorry, I don't remember the specifics, but there's something about Washington State in this Chapter 7 where the value of the house, the current value of the property, is extremely important. Because if it's over a certain amount, I think it's like $35,000 or $350,000, you could lose the house. And based on his estimate there, he has like $379,000 less 9% cost of sale, and then that comes just under the mark, so he can keep the house no matter what happens with the bankruptcy. And people were curious about including the realtor fees in the property, if that is also deceptive on the filing.
Okay, I'm not familiar with that $350,000.
It's actually $125,000 in equity. If you have more than that, they can take the house. If you have less than that, they can't take it.
I wish I had some sort of citation on that, because what I'm seeing is just $125,000 of equity.
Radioactive hermit crab.
Now, what's his? I actually, based on the loan amount, I think he would be over the $125,000 in equity. So that it might be that simple. That this 9% cost of sale, which I'm not sure how he's getting 9% as the cost of sale.
Because it puts them, whatever the math is. I'm sorry, I don't remember it, but whatever the math is, it very specifically puts it right under that. And the same with the initial filing with the Chapter 7. It's like he tweaks the numbers to get it just right, and it's very obvious to people in the thread.
I'm not sure when's
now I will say that this is probably a very common part of bankruptcy practice, tweaking the numbers to get them just right. Like that's. But the problem for most people, or well, the blessing for most people, is that their lives aren't so public, right? So there's no one verifying this stuff.
Someone in chat says it's the $125,000 exemption he is over because he stated property value on the bankruptcy form. He lied and lowered it.
Yeah, let's see. So we've got we'll get down to the thing. We can do the math when it breaks it down more specifically. So he's got the Toyota Corolla, current value listed as $15,853 from Kelley Blue Book. He's only got 5,000 miles on the car. Why even own a car? You never drive it.
No, I think his car is like 3 years old and he has 5,000 miles on it, and it's like an expensive car, isn't it? No, it's just a Toyota Corolla. But
try to subscribe. How to have a subscription?
2017. So this is probably an accurate value on Kelley Blue Book. But I mean, just why own a car if you're never going to drive it? I drive 5,000 miles a day. No, it just feels like it sometimes. Okay, so electronics. No televisions, radios, audio, video, stereo, and digital equipment, computers, printers, scanners, music collections, electronic devices, cell phones. Doesn't own a cell phone. Cameras, media players, and games.
He has all of those things in multiple.
Oh, here's a good part.
He has like visibly in the background of every stream he does. There is this pile of shit. There are recent streams where he is showing the ground, and he has a fucking PlayStation virtual reality goggle set, which is like $600 just laying on the floor. Like very clearly, he's lying about this.
The only way to get around the lie is to say that it's owned by the business. But saying his cell phone is owned by the business is a huge stretch, I think.
Well, he does play WWE Legends.
But he does own a business, according to his documents.
500 Blu-ray collection next to his 50-inch 3D TV in his family room.
Well, that's another thing, is that there's a thing in this asking if he's received $600 in gifts. The PS4 that he has and the TV that he has were gifts. People straight up gave him those things, and they are worth $600 by themselves. And that's another thing that he lied about on this form.
He's great. Collectibles of value, nothing. Doesn't know a single thing.
He doesn't have an entire room dedicated to his fucking hoard of man-child toys. That doesn't exist. You can't go into his house right now and find it.
No sports and hobbies. This guy doesn't do or have anything. It's amazing. No firearms. He does have clothes, miscellaneous clothing and shoes, $500. I mean, do you realize that like 2 pairs of shoes is $100 worth of shoes, right?
I have 2 pairs of shoes. I don't think I have $500 worth of shit in my luggage. Maybe.
Yeah, but again, you're an international hobo. You don't count.
He's basically a hobo.
You have to put everything in the overhead bin on a train. Like that's the life.
Not a business, has business internet.
David Carradine. Don't
I can believe that Darkside Phil has like at most like 3 outfits, and it barely. I don't even think it comes to $500. I bet you that's overestimating how much shit he has to wear.
This guy, I don't think so. When you really get
March
down
5th
to
will be a glorious day.
I don't buy it. Like, does he wear pants? Does he wear jeans?
It went very well, Robert. Thank you for asking.
Probably come from Goodwill. For $10.
No.
Yeah,
People are telling me that he used to have a Beamer. He used to have a BMW, right?
Look, he doesn't have to have taste. He can have a Beamer and wear Goodwill clothes in it. That's a reality.
Someone who buys a Beamer will at least buy like a pair of Levi's, like at least one.
And then they would depreciate in value because maybe he's saying they're all worn clothes, so now they're at Goodwill pricing. Even if he did buy it new, I'm standing for Darkside Phil here.
You do it.
$500 worth of shit to wear.
You impale yourself on that sword all day. He does have miscellaneous jewelry worth $200.
Oh yeah, he has like a watch. I'm sure it's a watch that he bought off Amazon to go on a date with. Oh, that's $200.
He has a stack of loot boxes and fake loot boxes. All my shoes are from over the last decade. At most, I buy $20 worth of shoes. I wear shorts, $365 from Goodwill. You guys have better austerity than I do. You know.
That's why we don't have $130,000.
That's in the Nook, dude. The Nook doesn't exist.
I don't either, but I mean, I wear comfortable jeans. That's.
Well, you can buy. You've made enough money off Super Chats to go buy yourself some Levi's. The rest of us are going to Goodwill.
Most of them predate Super Chats. To be fair, I don't shop for clothes that often. Non-farm animals.
God,
he has a cat. He has a cat named Jasper, and now there is the JQ, the Jasper question: who the fuck owns this cat? Because I think he's had it since before he knew Kat, the wife.
I thought his cat has to be worth like at least $1,000, right? Like I found that out because
we're $2,000
on stream for like $1,000 or whatever.
2,000.
So yeah, I know the cat exists. We know it exists.
We don't need that sunspot. Someone else is already working on it.
This cat.
Someone else is already working on being there to record
if it's Cat's cat, or if it's his cat, or if it's the if it's the business's cat.
See, now I'm getting hell for my shorts, guys. What would be really sad is if you found out how much my terrible shorts cost. That would make you more mad.
Wait, does he have a horse? Are you people full of shit? He doesn't have a horse. With DSP, keep a horse. No, he just has a cat. He doesn't have a horse.
And I hope he has a horse too. Like I hope.
No, I want because he wouldn't take care of a horse. That's a lot of work. Cat can empty the shit box for the cat, but she's not going to take care of a horse. She already has Phil to take care of.
Synac 8 says you forgot the $200 silver snack tray for Cat's boyfriend.
Oh. They're saying Cat's the horse. Okay,
so yeah,
I'm one page.
My shoe collection is probably more than $500. Nike's a hell of a drug.
So, any other personal and household items you did not already list, including any health aids you did not list. So, no household items. No, I guess furnishings. Like no chairs or couches exist.
Oh, in regards to that, even is I think he has one of those cripple masks that the one guy did.
No, he has $3,000 of household goods. I missed it because of this line here. It threw me.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, what were you saying?
I was saying that he had a cripple mask, like that one guy had a crowdfund. Well, what are those called?
A CPAP machine?
Yes, he has one of those, I think. So he definitely, if he has no other furnishings in that house, he has that mask.
That should be a health aid right here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Cash. He's got cash money of $601. Boom. I wonder if there's a bankruptcy exemption for cash.
Oh, he has a snore strap, not a CPAP. My bad.
Let's see.
Bond collection.
Man, if he was smart, he would have been dumping all of his money into a trust to pay him. That's exempt. Trust income is exempt from Washington.
Nice.
Bankruptcy stuff. Okay, where are we? Deposits of money. He's got a Bank of America checking account with $460. This guy's got $1,000. He can double his wardrobe, no problem.
Okay, here's a fun point of contention that everyone in chat wants me to bring up, but I've been waiting for this point. We know for sure that Darkside Phil is in possession of a PayPal account, but nowhere in this document does he mention that he is in possession of a PayPal account. Is that
actually has two PayPal accounts?
If there's any money in it, yeah. Yeah, I would consider a PayPal account to be like a bank account.
He has two PayPal accounts.
The thing that people are saying that maybe he just he doesn't keep any money there, and that's why he omits it. But people think that he's hiding the dragon's jewels in that PayPal account.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, so examples, and these examples are non-exhaustive. Checkings, savings, or other financial accounts. Certificates of deposit, shares in credit unions, brokerage houses, and other similar institutions. You have multiple accounts, the same institution list each. So yeah, he should have. I mean, I would say that a PayPal is another financial account.
Because it's not just a bank account. It's not just a PayPal account that you use to buy shit online. Like all of his tip money, every dollar he makes goes through that PayPal account. So it's a weird thing to admit, even if you don't keep money in it.
Yeah, Twitch likely deposits directly into it. I know mine does. My Twitch deposits directly into my PayPal account. It's just easier.
He has a couch in the living room, though.
Bonds,
plus a really nice dining
traded
table with
stocks,
6
no.
seats that match it.
Non-publicly traded stocks, no. Government and corporate bonds, no. Retirement or pension, no. Security deposits and prepayments, no. Annuities, no. No IRAs. No trusts or future interest in property. No patents, copyrights, trademarks, trade secrets, or other intellectual property. And no licenses, franchises, and other general intangibles. Tax refunds owed to you, no. Family support, no. Other amounts someone owes you, no. Interest in insurance policies, no. Property that is
his
due
pay pigs
you
owe him, according to him, though.
Wills. No claims against third parties. No unliquidated claims of every nature. And any financial assets you did not already list. Yes, business assets, 1,500. Maybe that's his PayPal account.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Maybe. Someone was curious. He is not just facing debtors, by the way. He's also squared up against the IRS. He's on a payment plan already for 2019 or 2018, and he's expecting to have to fight the IRS again for 2019. I think those are the years. Don't quote me on that. But he has, from what I understand, he has a payment plan from 2018, and he has used his consumer credit cards to pay the IRS.
Which you can't discharge.
Let's just say that he gets through this Chapter 7. Will the debt payments to the IRS be discharged?
He has a $15,000 debt from 2018, right?
Yes.
That's what he's claiming here. That should blow a hole in his income and expenses argument immediately. Like, that should make the court immediately suspicious.
Yeah, because he's been making less money every year. So just even from 2017, 2018, his income was significantly higher than it is right now.
Yeah, but I mean, his two-person tax bracket, you've got 25 grand exemption. Or wait, no, he was solo in 2018.
Yeah, he was solo in 2018.
He got married in 2019.
Hi, I'm Hinata from Naruto.
Okay, so he gets a $13,500 exemption. He's still got to be making 6 figures in 2018.
Yeah, he's still making a lot of money.
Oh, yeah. Easy.
I did not see that. I've heard about it on Twitter, though, Staple.
Again, he's got... If the bankruptcy judge is paying attention, I mean, he's got so many red flags. It'll be interesting. Dollar amount, $25.61. Do you own or have any legal or equitable interest in any business-related property? No. Wait.
Yeah, that's another thing. He claims that he has a home office, I'm pretty sure. That part of his equity is part of his business. Yep. But he also claims that he has no equity in business-related property.
Yeah, but it's any legal or... It's not business-related real property. It's business-related property.
Oh, yeah, okay.
His computer, if it's not personal property, is business property.
Yeah.
So his all of his electronics and stuff, that would still be
business property.
Exactly. Have any legal or equitable interest in any farm or commercial
Project 7,
property? No,
Emerald 7, Chapter 7, it's all going to fuck
any kind that you did not already list, no. No season tickets or country club memberships. All right, so total real estate, $405,000. Oh, excuse me. Total vehicles, $15,853. Personal and household items, $3,700. There's no way it's that low. I don't care what anybody says. Total financial assets, $2,561.
Here's a personal experience. The court probably won't believe that, even if it is 100% true. Because I remember when my mom's house caught on fire, we filed for insurance claims, and we put something like $22,000 for the entire value of everything inside the house, and the maximum was like $50,000 for the claim, and they said, we think you undervalued your property.
Yeah, because everybody does. I mean, everybody undervalues the property, personal property. It's one of the biggest problems in homeowners insurance claims is that people realize how much it costs to replace all their stuff when they have to do it.
Yikes.
$3,700. A fridge, an oven, and a microwave and a washer and dryer is $4,000, right? Like minimum. Yeah. That's for cheap stuff. It's crazy to think you have $3,700 in your kitchen, like almost guaranteed. This is a $400,000 house. Should we look up his property?
The value on the paper is the current Zillow evaluation.
I was just gonna see what it looked like how big it was and stuff like that. How new?
It's newish.
A judge is gonna look at this.
Put into a gated community.
$3,700 in your household items. That's it. Like a washer dryer that's made in the last 10 years is $1,500, even if it's cheap for those two things. TVs, anything. God.
Apparently, his coffee maker is $500.
Yeah,
and he said
I saw someone say that. Okay, so current value of the portion you own. So this
don't be scared.
$344,890.
Just don't fuck up like DSP did.
Claim is $125,000. Toyota Corolla, 15,853. Amount of the exemption is 1525. Is that? Hold on, let's see. The exemptions on a car, automobile. Where's that?
Automobile, I think it's only like 3,250.
Motor vehicle exemption. The debtor can exempt up to 3,250 in one motor vehicle.
Called it.
He's actually under here because he owes so much on his car still that he's actually not taking all of his exemption on the car. That's nice of him.
Well, is he at risk of losing the vehicle, his primary vehicle?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah, he's well under the exemption he can claim is 3,250, and he's only claiming 1,525 because he owes like $12,000 something dollars on the car. So as long as he's paying his car note, he's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not gonna lose the car because he's paying on it.
They won't
still.
take his car to try and liquidate it because it's not actually worth. This
he has
much.
$200 trash
car,
can, not
$200
$200 trash cans.
$800 on it or whatever, which we'll get to in a little bit, or more than that. He's got to owe $13,300 or whatever. Miscellaneous house. Oh, what? Sorry.
Not to backtrack. I think he might mention this a little bit up ahead, but
something like that.
In regards to the cat question, and this is something that we need to point out because it was talked about for so long. He claims he does not have any non-farm animals, but he will claim at some point in this document, he may have already claimed in this document that he spends $100 a month on pet food.
Right.
How can this be?
It's other people's pets. He's a pet cuckold.
But he feeds them.
He's a pet cuckold feeder. So he's gonna.
Oh no!
He buys cat food for like his neighbor, and then he goes over to his house and looks through the binoculars and watches his neighbor feed the cat.
Oh my god.
Miscellaneous household goods $3,000, clothing and shoes $500. Yeah, and I think his clothing and shoes exemption is much higher than this. Yeah, he could claim $3,500 for furs, jewelry, and personal ornaments per person. So he could claim more stuff there. So maybe he does only have $500 worth of stuff. Maybe I don't know.
I bet you're right. I'm going to be proven right by the passage of time. The creditors are going to come in there, tally everything up, and it's going to be like $4.99.
I'm surprised the Kiwis haven't like logged the value of his clothes based
all the
on
clothes
his streams.
He's worn on all his streams and looked them up on Amazon, got the exact value and the depreciation of jeans over time.
I don't know. The jeans depreciate in value unless they get torn, right?
Then they appreciate.
Yeah, then they get. Well, it depends where the rips are. If they're in all the right places, you know. $200 for jewelry, $600 cash, $460 in the Bank of America account. Business assets of $1,500. Are you claiming a homestead exemption of more than $170,350? No. So he's not. He doesn't answer.
That's good for
that's
you,
only
Ryan.
if yes. So he must have. It doesn't matter there. Okay, so creditors. Here's the secured claim. So here's his. Okay, so yeah, this math. This is why. Yeah, that. So he owes $227,448. If his house was actually worth that $379. That brings him over the 125 easy.
And he could lose his house, right? If it's over that.
Yeah. Okay, they could choose to foreclose his property, sell it at auction,
and distribute
any additional income to creditors.
Because the logic of the government is if you have a house that's worth more than $125,000,
they threw that out, Thomas.
It's on downgrade because you're bankrupt, right?
Well, they'll say if you have
the equity
got thrown out $125,000, then you should be tapping into that equity to pay your other creditors.
Good point. He's always wearing Jim Pants or shorts, never wearing any jeans.
I don't know. I mean, they usually they would sell. They typically can't force an obligation like another debt because they'd also be forcing some company to incur the debt.
Yeah.
So
that's the main thing that actually from the forum was concerned about because it seems like
on
every page of this document, the primary concern of Phil is to ensure that he will keep that house. And even on live stream, he was saying how because people were taunting him and saying, "If you're going to lose the house,
you want to have the ability to sell."
I promise you, no matter what happens, the house is fine. I'm not going to lose the house. So that's his big concern, and what I think a lot of people are interested in is what's the over under of the house being sold.
As long as he's up to date on the payment, pretty low.
That's a good question. That's a really good question.
Because it's really the only thing he has of any value.
Yeah, and it's the only thing he lists of any value.
As long as he's paying on it, I don't think he'll lose it.
I wonder if this 9% cost of sale is a statutory thing because the foreclosure, if they foreclose upon it, they're going to lose value. The cost of the foreclosure alone is expensive.
Because it feels like if they just listed it honestly, the judge will look at it and go, well, that's over the limit. We have to consider the house now. But listing the realtor value might like just pass that really simple sanity check and keep them going on to the next thing.
Yeah, it might. It might.
Just
Someone
barely,
did say
though.
this 379 was based on a value from 2016, so it could have appreciated from there.
It
Likely
did a lot.
And it likely has because it's Washington and all the real estate in that area is going way up.
Mm-hmm. What was I looking up? Oh, I looked up his Patreon. His Patreon is $376 a month.
That's it?
Hey, Alquin.
I was making more than that.
There's
I
a
think
face rig model.
It's been tanking because again the detractors, the trolls.
I didn't graph tree on it. It could have been higher before, but that's what it's at right now.
It definitely was at some
Well,
point.
Zach, he has said he wants to die in that house.
That, a long time ago, when he was still popular with people and not everyone hated him, he crowdfunded. I think it was a Patreon stretch goal of several $1,000s to make this. I don't know what the fuck it was. I want to say it's like just a creative effort with YouTube videos called Project 7. And now, many years later, Project 7 does not exist, but Chapter 7 does.
Back in January of 2019, he was at $583 a month, and it's been on a steady but slow decline to where it is now. So he wasn't making a ton on Patreon ever. But I think he says on his Patreon that it's mainly just Twitch. Let's see. After being blindsided by the loss of my full-time office job in 2010, I became partnered and have been making video game live streams, playthroughs, and vlogs ever since. 2013, I adopted direct capture and live streaming, and I now stream most days on twitch.tv. Adopting a more stream-focused style of gameplay content has proven incredibly successful over the last year and reinvigorated my style of Let's Play. However, sadly, in the summer of 2018, my 8-year running YouTube channel, DSP Gaming, was demonetized due to factors outside of my control, and now I rely primarily on income from my Twitch streaming channel as well as my Patreon. To keep going, your support is greatly appreciated. There you go.
It's been a rough couple of years.
Fucked everything up.
I don't know. A lot of people really genuinely don't like Phil, but I have trouble hating him, or even just not liking him. I think of him as a goofy person, and it's hard for me to seriously dislike him.
He is goofy, but he's a scammer and a thief.
A lot of people don't like him. He's the pig roach.
And a piece of shit.
Ben Meekins. Oh, excuse me. I got so tired right before the show. I've been waking up like way earlier in the day. My sleep schedule got ruined by my kids.
Yeah, they skyrocketed in
between 6 and 9
Seattle
a.m.
area, especially.
They're not goofing, are they? They don't have the Wuhan flu.
No. They all had the vomits for like one day each. It was great. Just
the vomits. Oh yeah, that
just
sounds
one
good.
to the other, so it never stacked on any specific day.
No, it stacked on a couple of them. It was like a 3-day period for all the 5 kids, but it was like every 30 minutes, like clockwork. I was cleaning up vomit. It was perfect. You guys want to know about that, right? Like that's what we should be talking about on this stream. Let's get back to Phil here, and his sadness.
There we go.
Okay, so here's his other one. This is his condo. So his condo is worth $60,611 according to his Zillow estimate, but he owes $105,890, which means he's $45,279 underwater.
Ouch.
And I wonder when he bought this thing. I bet he just
2008 or
tanked
2009.
2008 for the Connecticut home. It was specifically 2008.
Oh, I was joking when I said that.
No, 2008.
So he bought it right before the mortgage crisis.
Well, I mentioned my mom's house, and she bought her house at like $200,000 in 2008, right before the crash, and then it lost half its value, and then it caught on fire, and it was covered for the full amount. So it worked.
Well, that's good for him.
Seems a little suspicious. I'm just saying.
I know, right? We had a good cover story. Trust me.
I believe it none. So here's his car, $15,853, and he owes $14,328. So that puts his exemption amount. That's why it's at $1,500. So no, he's in no danger of losing the car. Very important, I hear, for his wife to get to work in that car. So here's the values: $347,666. So now we get to the unsecured creditors. And guys, if you want to know how to ruin your financial life, just take advice from Phil here. This is how you do it. You have your $15,000 to the IRS that he owes. So that's nice. For 2018 back taxes. And then here are the non-priority unsecured claims. American Express, $1128.
That's fucking great.
That's not that much. Good job.
No. Wait
he has
for
a second
it.
American Express.
Wait for it.
$6422.
We're getting to it.
Why do they give them 2?
We're getting to it.
Look, you can get all kinds of credit cards because they're so American Express is, if you look at it as a payment processor rather than a credit card company, I mean, they're a brand that licenses out their card usage to banks.
Come on, so get to
there's
it.
There's a bank that makes an American Express, or that issues an American Express card that American Express does the processing for. And all of that.
Okay, I have a general question. How many credit cards? And everybody in chat, I want your participation. How many credit cards do you have total?
I can do this. I have
or
two.
use? Because I used
two
to.
credit cards. I used
I
to
have like half a dozen.
I used to have 4 at one point because there was a point really between losing my job and graduating law school.
Because if you apply for the lowest card, it'll take 10% off your order. Okay. Use it for that one order.
Lots of ones,
never
twos,
use it again.
zeros. I see.
Yeah, I'm
use
shocked
it for
by
a
other
third
people who
card.
have no credit cards. That's impressive. That's a good
use
thing.
it for a third card.
Just saying that
I got
my
this
mom
much,
got
you get
really big into
$150
finance
free.
at one point.
Deposit
And
to your
one
account.
thing I remember from her
never
reading
use
her
it
books
again.
about money is in a saying that if you have $5 in your pocket and no credit card debt, you are richer than the average American.
I don't have a Joker on here.
If you,
I only got
if
what
you have no debt, you have no
face
credit cards. Keep it up. That is the good shit right there. I have quite a few because I have to juggle money in a spastic manner. But yeah, I'm very impressed because Phil has 13. I think once you pass double digits with credit cards, you might want to reconsider what you're doing.
I would imagine you.
But I actually have like 6 in total. But that's because use it once for this thing.
Literally
done.
credit cards.
Use it
That's how I do
once
it.
for
That's
this
how I
thing.
decide what to pay each thing for. I just throw them up in the air and pick one.
That's how it goes, man. Most people.
I use the shit out of mine because I get cash back on.
Many people have been there.
But then I pay them off immediately.
I remember.
It's like 1% on this, 2% on that, 5%
okay, which one of these is going to be late this month?
So I use the shit out of my
when
cards,
Congress got
rid
of the late fees on credit cards. That was great. Or the late penalties and stuff like that.
He has 14. I don't know why I've been saying 13. I guess 13 is a funnier number than 14.
Yeah, it is. 14 is a sad number. He's got a Bank of America card. This one has 20.
There it is.
On it.
There it is.
Then he's got another
26
BMW Bank of North America.
$1,000.
He doesn't even have a
on
BMW.
one card.
2741. Maybe he's still paying it off.
Oh god.
Wouldn't that be funny if he was still paying off his? I don't think this isn't his car note though. This is something else.
No. It's like he really thought he was fucking cool getting the BMW and a BMW Bank of America car. He's like in the club now, man. He's like a cool hip dude with his BMW.
Out of a JG.
I can only get a Ford Bank of America card. Capital One, 10,751. Chase. He's got.
I got a lot of debt. That's because I have a house.
Here.
But I can afford it because I work a full-time job.
At the beginning of every month.
Oh fuck that! He better subscribe for paperless, otherwise he's killing some trees.
But the amount, just seeing those amounts, that's dispiriting, right? Like you open all that mail, it's like I got to pay $130 on this one. I got to pay $60 on this one. I got to pay $250 on this one. Oh my god, it's got to be daunting.
Any handwritten notes from my fans, my hundreds of thousands of fans? No, just credit card debts. Okay, I'm gonna go back inside and play WWE Legends for a couple more hours.
What's the highest amount of credit cards I've heard of someone having? I think one of my grandparents had just a shitload because they had an issue with it. But I don't know what the number of her was. 10 would have been an amazing number to me.
Yeah, pay them off every month.
I don't know. Have you ever heard of anybody?
So I'm going to pay I'm going to be buying food. I'm going to be buying gas.
No, this is ridiculous.
Groceries and going out and pay my electric bill. May as well get cash back for him.
City, he's got 8508 to City. Another City card, 13885. So that's 2 City cards so far. 3 City cards, 15601. I think City's got to be like, we made a mistake. It was at this point that City realized they fucked up.
They weren't seeing this money back ever.
Discovery, he's got 10. How's he get these credit limits?
Here's the thing though, a lot of times for bankruptcy things, the credit card companies don't care, the banks don't care. It's like the guy has $6,000 in credit card debt to us. All right, whatever, we just write that off as a business expense. DSP, however, has $133,000. Citibank is not ignoring a $26,000 credit card. Bank of America is not ignoring 3 credit cards that are equaling over $30,000. Like, they are coming for this ass, and they're going to get themselves some bacon. Same thing with MidFirst Bank. MidFirst Bank is going hard for this. A lot of people that filed bankruptcy, they show up to the court. It's them, the trustee, and the judge. Like, yeah, I lost my job, and then I had a car accident, broke my arm. I couldn't do anything for a while, and I just couldn't keep up the payments. All right. We'll liquidate whatever we can, and you're good. Goodbye. But DSP is going to show up. He's going to sit down. There's going to be his judge. It's going to be his lawyer, the trustee, the judge, and then like 15 lawyers sitting there going, so, Mr. Successful Businessman, Mr. I made 133 grand last year. Where's our money, bitch? Unlike sharks, lawyers have no emotions. They will tear him limb from limb, from limb, from limb until there's nothing left to tear off. And then they'll just fight over the bits and pieces that are left. He is so fucked because he has so much debt. Like a normal person, like, you know, after I lost my job because I broke my arm, I put the medical bills on this, put the other bills on that, and then I just couldn't pay it anymore. By the time I finally able to get a job, after my arm healed, I just couldn't keep up with the payments. Okay, we'll liquidate, we'll take the TV, we'll take some of your furniture, alright, you're good. You have a good day. Thank you, guys. But DSP owes way too much for these companies to not send anyone out. Now, some people are like, oh, well, it's going to cost this much money to send a lawyer out, dude. I mean, it's not going to be worth it. First of all, yes, it is. Second of all, these are not you and me sitting down going, oh, shit, I need a lawyer. I better go and find one. Check the yellow pages, Google. No. A lot of these companies, they have lawyers on retainer. You know what that means? This guy sits in his office playing on his phone. Do they need me today? No? Alright, well, that's still throw $2,000 to my bank account today because I'm on retainer. Do they need me today? No? Alright, well, make sure they deposit that $2,000 to my bank account today. Do they need me today? Oh, and they need me to go to a courthouse in Renton, Washington over a bankruptcy claim? Alright, I guess I'll stop playing WWE Champions. God, I almost finished 4th, but this asshole they call me DSP, beat me. Damn it! So yeah, unlike most bankruptcy deals where it's just, you know, fucking the guy owes us $8,000, we're done. He absolutely can't pay us according to the paperwork. He can't pay us. We're done. Just write it off, put it towards our tax exempts. We're good. But DSP, he's going to show up with 13, 14, 15 lawyers there waiting to tear him apart. Because a lot of these companies have lawyers on a retainer. They just sit there and wait until they're needed. Yeah, like, they handle other cases, but then others are saying there's like, well, they don't need it, I guess I'm going to play some more WWE champions. And I still get paid because I'm on a retainer. It's kind of like when you're on call for, like, your hospital worker and you're on call. It's like, well, I can't drink or party, but I can still hang out. If they call me in, I get called in. If I don't get called in, I still got paid, like, half price, whatever. It's like, I make $26 an hour. I only get paid $13 an hour when I'm on call. But as long as I'm on call, I can have my phone on me and be ready to go in. So yes, those are thinking that he's going to show up, there's going to be him, his lawyer, the trustee, and the judge. No. MidFirst, definitely. Citibank, definitely. Bank of America, definitely. The BMW people, it's like $2,000. They may be like, fuck it, we don't care. It's not worth sending one out. But these other people, oh, you best believe there's going to be a lawyer for them. Alright, sorry about that. Back to this. Maybe we should let it to Dave.
I know how. He goes in and he says, well, I make $10,000 a month.
Yeah, well, it's that, and he does have a degree in business finance, so he must know what to say to get the good credit limits. I guarantee you what it is, because he bragged about his,
my one friend works for a hospital
for a very long time. He said,
I was like, I can't drink this weekend. I'm on call.
Now.
Well, not anymore. But I guarantee you, he just pays the minimums, and that's great. If you get a credit card, here's my financial advice, not legally financial advice, but in general, if you're just starting out in life and you don't have any credit and you're thinking you might get a card,
in fact, we're coordinating it on Twitter right now,
and buy something. And just
at least get it recorded.
Yeah. And that's all you got to do to get a fantastic credit score. It's not rocket surgery. It's not brain science. You just give them more money than what you bought. Yeah,
you should. You buy like one TV for like $1,000 and pay the minimum payment every month.
Buy yourself a Bing Bing Wahoo toy and just pay that off very slowly. And after 6 months, you'll have a great credit score. And when you go to buy a car, your life will be a lot easier.
So he's probably going into these banks saying he makes 10, 15 grand a month. I'm famous, famous Twitch streamer. Yeah, maybe you've heard of me. Darkside Phil, expert at Dark Souls, and yeah. So then they're going to give. I mean,
those lawyers not representing him. Ooh, he's even more
impressive credit limits for someone who has so little in their life. Lending Club Corporation.
So he's even more fucked.
9,300 there. Prosper Marketplace 4,355, and then he's got a Sam.
All right, let me take a second. This fucker paid $1,200 for a bankruptcy lawyer, and they're not even going to show up to the court date. So he's going to show up with a trustee, a judge, and 13, 14, 15 bloodthirsty lawyers. He's going to have no representation. Are you fucking kidding me? Yes! Thank you! Oh, this gets better and better.
Sam's Club card. For $3,800 to Sam's Club. And then another $4,700 to U.S. Bank. God, that's
I can ask
depressing.
for permission to
So
record
now
in
would be a good
court.
time to ask another question.
Well,
from
it's a
Axel.
public thing, so you can just show up and sit there and
is
live
curious,
tweet.
what are the chances of, should a court date come, and I guess he does literally physically have to go to court to face the music on this, what are the odds of the creditors being there?
He'll give him a shout out on YouTube.
They'll probably send someone, or they'll be teleconferenced in, I would assume. I don't.
So each of these banks is going to send a person to, like, I guess, what do they do? Do they talk with the
Again, maybe not
trustee?
all of
Do
them,
they
but
talk with
some of
him
them will.
about?
Well, they would raise any objections that they have to any of these numbers.
He has to go. If he doesn't
so
go,
you're
it's
gonna have 13
automatically
different banks
thrown
sitting there
out.
saying this doesn't make any sense.
If they choose to. I mean, they could just, some of these banks, $3,800 for Sam's Club, they might just say, oh, whatever, it's a loss, who cares?
But you can ask for permission, whether it's for educational reason,
that's an amount
or news reason. You can ask to record.
Yeah,
They can deny you, but you can ask
to pay off, because they're getting screwed if they don't.
Yeah. So it depends on the creditor if they want to deal with it, but they theoretically could send someone to raise objections to any of these amounts, because they're going to be looking at these documents prior to that hearing. They may be filing something.
March
5th. And see what comes
if they
out.
make a movie about this, they'll have to call it 14 Angry Banks.
Yeah. No, it's got to be, if you make a movie, it's artistic license. It's got to be 13 Angry Banks.
Okay. One of them doesn't show up.
Yeah.
That's why the lowest limit doesn't show up at all.
Right. Well, one Sam's Club, so. So yeah, he's back to the tax amount is there, but yeah. So
no, you got to be more accurate. Cast Wesley Snipes.
God, that's a lot of unsecured debt. Poof.
What do you I guarantee you, when you look at the business expenses, I guarantee you he's including like the interest on his cards.
Yeah, I think he's including his credit card payments. I think that's the only way I think he's including his mortgage too.
Prison picture
it has to be the mortgage. It has to be all his.
I know what they call me,
payments. All his payments for everything is included under a business expense, and he's just treading water, spending 5 times what most people make every month, just treading water.
Most people make more than $1,000 a month. I mean, to be fair,
well, I'm just saying,
his
a lot of money.
His Kroger wife makes more than $1,000 a month. So.
Yes, okay. Well, she works part time.
I mean, I know you're international hobo extraordinaire, but.
I am very appreciative of what I get. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it is a public hearing.
Okay, so he's no executory contracts or unexpired leases. Co-debtors, no co-debtors. Within the last 8 years, have you lived in a community property, state, or territory?
Yes.
Yes.
I'd love to see Seth
Washington
Rogen play
State.
Tevin.
Your spouse, former spouse, or legal equivalent lived with you at the time? Yes. He just doesn't list which one he lived in, so that's good.
And ask him what the fuck he's spending $5,000 every month on.
Just stupidity. Should have put Washington down. The income. He lists himself as employed, but then he lists self-employed. I mean,
but what entity is he employed by? The sole proprietorship, or that doesn't exist, or does he have an LLC? I don't think he has an LLC.
He's a content creator.
He's just utterly fucking confused by what to check for anything.
He doesn't list how long he's been a content creator at self-employed.
But if you listen to any of his streams, he'll quickly remind you how long he's been doing live streams.
11 years, guys.
He knows. He just admits it.
So gross wages, salary, and commissions, she makes $1349.92. That's less than they put at the other one, right? It's here. Doesn't he list her income as 17 something
with that too?
Yeah, 1742.32.
Of course.
Because I think on that one number he uses that to calculate
$20.
Oh, she gets
just
tax,
saying.
Medicare, Social Security, and deductions.
Okay.
That reduces it. That reduces it.
Yeah, no, that number is the one he uses to determine their net income for the purposes of filing Chapter 7.
Kevin James.
The subsequent number is the true one. So he fudges that number too.
Oh my God. So he has no deductions on payroll here for himself, some insurance, union dues, taxes, and Medicare.
Yep, Kevin James.
Then he's got his own net income, $39.90.69. Beautiful. So then that comes out to the $50.77. This is, yeah, he's got $57.33.01 here.
Yeah, and if you put in what Kat actually makes, it would be over. So he has to fudge her numbers too.
Yeah.
Rather than
He
go
fudges
to a
everything.
GGG
That's why
video.
it seems like maliciously deceitful.
Much better voice.
Let's see. Add the amount. Do you expect to increase or decrease within the year after you file this form? No.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, I mean,
he expects a loss.
Even if you don't expect a loss, like streaming income is so volatile. Like he could expect.
If you don't expect it to put down like, yes, I expect my
let's
income
see.
to come down, just because I'm an idiot who might get banned from Twitch at any time.
Your expenses. Is this a joint case? No. Do you have dependents? No. Expenses include expenses of people other than yourself or your dependents? No. Expenses. The rental or home ownership expenses for your residence, $1,830. So that's his mortgage payments. And then
You
he's
still
got
haven't
home
told me where to
maintenance, repair, and
go.
upkeep expenses of $360 a month.
I'm gonna love when he gets held in contempt of court.
Utilities, electricity, heat, natural gas, 150.
Here's a good point. Is I mentioned the 2 fucking business lines. He doesn't list his internet bills under utilities. Why?
It's not a utility.
It specifically says cable services.
Oh yeah, you're right.
It should be there.
Internet,
Why
yeah.
That's like his biggest utility expense.
Well, he's probably these are
lines.
personal expenses that he's doing here.
Oh, okay, so it doesn't count.
So if he's counting his,
But he's not a business.
expense,
And I think some people were saying that he's clarified on stream that one is like a personal line, the other is a business line. Well, it's like, okay, well, you should be listing one of them here too. It's a complete mess. If you actually like, if any of those banks decide to send anybody who even casually looks at this document, it's immediately obvious to a layman who has never heard of Phil that this is bullshit.
Oh man, to spend only $600 a month on food. Kids are so expensive. Good God. Clothing, laundry, and dry cleaning, $100 a month. He spends. Listen to this. Listen to this. He allegedly spends 1/5 of the amount of cost of clothing he has, of total clothing he has per month, on laundry, dry cleaning, and clothing. This guy has more than $500 worth of clothes if he's spending $100.
Or he just thinks that he spends $100 on like laundry detergent.
Maybe he's like the Rain Man, like Dustin Hoffman. He's like, how much do you spend on laundry? About $100.
He takes his worn jeans to the dry cleaners.
Yeah, they cost $100. How much for your personal care products and services? About $100. Like toothpaste. How much toothpaste this guy using in a month?
So how do you use $100 a month when you don't take a shower?
He has gout. He has to take care of the gout.
So transportation include gas, maintenance, bus or train fare, no car payments. $100, about $100. $100 on entertainment, clubs, recreation, magazines, newspapers, and books. But he doesn't own any of these things. He doesn't own any magazines or books or newspapers.
And if he's including his gotcha game, it should be like $10,000.
Let's see. So health insurance, he's paying $307.99.
But you skipped over the fact he has a big fat goose egg for charitable contributions and religious donations.
Hey, listen. You can't compel charity.
It's 10% to the church, man. You got to give it up to God.
Now whose merchant side is showing?
Oh, no.
We'll take 10% of the wheat and birds too. Health and vehicle insurance he's got on here. His tax payment is apparently $500 a month. That's nice. Car payments for vehicle 1, $380 a month. Cell phone, which he doesn't own. Remember, he doesn't own this. According to himself, he doesn't own a cell phone. $160 a month. What kind of plan is that?
So what the fuck are you spending $160 on?
No alimony.
Yeah, that's a lot.
No alimony or maintenance. For a solo cell phone, that's expensive.
No, she's paying for cats too, and he's listing that, but she's not a debtor.
Even that's kind of expensive for both of them.
Well, mine's 70, but I have a plan that lets me get international.
Yeah, so I guess 2 of them would...
2 of them on like I think the T-Mobile Magenta Plus is 80. If he has like 2 T-Mobile lines for him and Cat, that'd be like 160.
Yeah,
I guess
2 unlimited lines will do it. Other real property expenses not included in lines. Mortgages on other property. He has a mortgage on another property, right? Like he has a mortgage on his Connecticut home. That should be listed there.
Yes.
Real estate taxes. I guess he doesn't pay those.
It's not that he doesn't have them. He
has 2 properties, but he doesn't pay those real estate taxes.
Oops.
And he has no property, homeowners, or renters insurance.
He's in a gated community. He has to have a homeowner's insurance.
He has
homeowners
to.
association or condominium dues? Nope. Wrong.
Yeah, that's bullshit. That's just wrong. That's just like anybody can look at this and say you have 2 houses, you pay taxes presumably on them.
Wait, so then he has miscellaneous personal care, miscellaneous and personal hygiene. That should have been covered up here, and it's also $100. $100 in pet food, pet care for the pet that he doesn't have.
He has homeowners on both, so I don't know how the hell he is claiming.
He could have made these monthly expenses really
They're the same thing, Robert. Yeah.
I feel like we've spent more time correcting this than he spent filling this out because there's no way he's trying to bullshit the courts in 14 different banks.
His monthly net income could be much, much lower than this. Why didn't he do that? Like, someone said he stopped paying the mortgage on the other house in April, but he still owes that debt. Like, that's still an expense. Just because he's not incurring it doesn't. I mean, he is actually technically still incurring it. They can come and foreclose on the property.
So yeah, I'm paying for 2 phone lines. Well, where's the phone? I don't own the phone. Fuck you.
Why wouldn't you put this stuff in? This is where you'd want it.
Yeah, right? This is like stuff that you can point to and
miscellaneous
prove as a real expense that is causing you financial problems, as opposed to the mysterious $5,000 that you can't explain.
I am underwater on this stuff. So what did he claim was his monthly expenses?
Yes.
He claimed,
the guy we're watching is an actual lawyer. He's a real life lawyer.
Operating expenses. This amount is so
definitely $100
close
on gin
to this
to
amount.
Yeah.
It says 52. I wonder if he's combining these and then double dipping on the expenses. Okay, so he makes negative $35 a month. Good job. You should probably find a second job. Declaration about an individual's debtor schedules. Resigns. Statement of financial affairs for individuals. He's married. He's not lived anywhere else in the past 3 years.
I can't claim that.
Within the last 8 years, did you ever live with a spouse in community property state? Yes. Explain your sources of income.
Not sure either, but he's a lawyer.
So, operating a business. He doesn't list his gross income here.
2 BMWs.
So is he claiming that Cat lives in like project housing?
This is a huge lie. This is gross income.
Yeah, no, that doesn't make sense. If you add up if you multiply his monthly income, his gross income by 12, you do not get 56,000.
Yeah, he makes this in under 6 months, according to his own calculations. So this is a big screw up.
Oh,
good job, idiot.
I think he meant net, maybe.
This would be his. This is still low for his net income. Although if you, no, I guess because he had that loss. I mean, he listed $875 loss or whatever in July.
That's still gross. He shouldn't be considering his.
No, I know, but if he was doing net income, that's how you. That's
it might add. Yeah,
it would be. Number.
Yeah, and 2018 being higher is coincides with income.
Yeah, but it should be much higher because he's doing net here too. I bet because the judge would be pissed if he comes in with 130 grand in income, showing, and then 150 the year before. I don't know. It's weird.
The judge is going to be pissed when he has to change every single thing on this form.
Any other income during this year or the 2 previous calendar years? Any other income? No.
No Teespring.
Royalties, gambling, and lottery
no
wins.
Patreon.
I get the feeling that's not. Well, he probably didn't win any money that way.
Alimony, child support, Social Security, unemployment, other public benefit payments, pensions, rental income, interest, dividends, money collected from lawsuits, royalties, gambling, and lottery.
Ignorance of the laws, no defense.
This points out something interesting: is that he's had that Connecticut home since 2008. He's never rented it. He's never rented that property, and it's like, why? Why don't you rent it? People have been telling him for years to rent it, but he refuses.
I wouldn't want to be a landlord, man. I wouldn't.
You pay someone, and they take care of everything for you, and they just take a chunk of it.
Yeah, till the roof collapses and kills their kid, and then you're screwed. Get an LLC for your rental properties, y'all. Debtor 1 or 2 or both have primarily consumer debts. Yes. Then he's got the mortgage.
Living in a box. Living in a
cardboard rented
box.
Until she died, and he hasn't rented it out to the public.
Did you make payment on a debt you owed anyone who is an insider? Ooh, no, he says. Payments or transfer property on account of a debt that benefited an insider. So no.
Are they just asking if you've committed fraud? What are these questions?
Well, because if you made, like, let's say I owe 10 different people $1,000 or $10,000 each. And then, but one of those people is my business partner, for example. Well, let's say I pay everybody $100 out of that 10,000, but I pay my business partner $5,000. That looks suspicious, and they're going to potentially claw back that money and distribute it evenly amongst the creditors, or proportionally. Okay. I shouldn't say evenly, but proportionally. That's only because then it looks like you're just sheltering assets. That's why they ask that. Were you a party in any lawsuit, court action, or administrative proceeding? He says no. Any property repossessed, foreclosed, garnished, attached. Okay, so
he's trying to pull it in court, though. This is what
people are saying. That
this is the official document submitted to court.
It's open right now.
Perjury.
I think they opened it in December. The bank or the.
Hey Jay.
I guess if it's still an open foreclosure, it's not technically foreclosed yet.
Holla for the dollar.
That'd be the argument I would make. 90 days before filing bankruptcy, did any creditor, including a bank or financial institution, set off any
there's a lot of Mexicans in Mexico. I don't think he'd like it there. He's too racist for that.
You owed a debt. He says no. Any of your property in the possession of an assignee for the benefit of creditors, court receiver, custodian, or other official? No. 2 years. Did you give any gifts with a total value of more than $600 per person? So give any gifts. So he didn't give any gifts more than $600. This is the same thing. Like just trying to get rid of assets and shelter stuff. Like I give you, my special people, gold bars, and then later you give them back to me type thing when the bankruptcy's over. Within 2 years before you filed bankruptcy, did you give any gifts or contributions with a total value of more than $600 to any charity? No.
Of course not.
1 year before, did you lose anything because of theft, fire, other disaster, or gambling? No. Anyone else acting on your behalf pay or transfer any property to anyone you consulted about seeking bankruptcy or preparing a bankruptcy petition. Yeah, so he has paid $1,200 to Sheffield Bankruptcy Law Firm.
That's his current attorney.
Homestar.
Yep.
That's where I got that number, by the way. I think the 1,500 is 1,200 for all of this.
Yeah, and that's not an uncommon number for a basic bankruptcy. Although I don't know that they knew they were getting into something more than a basic bankruptcy. Anyone else acting on your behalf, pay or transfer any property to anyone who promised to help you deal with your creditors or make payments? No.
God, he is so
Sell,
fucked.
trade, or otherwise transfer any property to anyone other than property transferred in the ordinary course of business or financial affairs.
It's only initial, dude. It's not the final one.
Then
why does it say under perjury? Under threat of perjury, they will go to jail, get fined.
Self-settled trusts are a trust
accurate.
where you're the grantor, you're the trustee, and the beneficiary. If anybody's curious about that, you can't. Self-settled trusts are legal, but they're suspicious for.
I did everything correct.
Purposes. You can't just dump money into a trust that is yours and run by you for your benefit to try and get it out of creditors' hands.
The next one is funny. He claims that within the last year, Bank of America closed one of his savings accounts that had no money in it. And he lists that. That's very specific and thorough for something.
Shit, Jay.
Considering all the other egregious errors, he somehow managed
to
remember.
Stay fly, y'all.
So there we go. Do you now have, or did you have within 1 year before you filed bankruptcy, any safe deposit box or the depository for securities, cash, or other valuables? No. You stored property in a storage unit or place of living home within 1 year? No.
You're not wrong, Zach.
Identify property you hold or control of someone else? No. Environmental information. Has any government unit notified you that you may be liable? Violation of environmental law? No. Hazardous material? No. Any proceedings under environmental laws? No. Give details about your business or connections to any business? Doesn't. Within 4 years before you filed bankruptcy, did you own a business or have any of the following connections to any business? Sole proprietor.
He has a sole proprietorship, and he claims that he's self-employed, but then on this part, he doesn't check the box that says self-employed.
Yeah.
How do you? That's just
great.
Wrong. No matter how, it doesn't matter what your legal understanding is. That is plain English that he is lying about.
Yeah, that one.
They have to go to 13, but 13 is gonna fuck him.
Even if he gets, even if he just says, "Oh, I made a stupid mistake," he's still drawing attention to it, right? Like this is the type of stuff you should get right.
He's begging for scrutiny. He really should not want scrutiny because he's under the limits for 8 different things.
Check all that apply. Okay, so wait. Checking all that apply above and fill in the details for each business.
Do you want to file bankruptcy for you?
So he says yes, but he didn't check any of these. So
up to $250,000 fine plus 20 years in jail is a penalty for lying on this.
Yeah, that's the name of the sole proprietorship.
No EIN. Oh, this is goodness.
This is more confusing than it should be.
You'd think his lawyer would have proofread this at least and said, "This is weird."
Because that's the thing, is that it doesn't matter what your understanding of DSP. You don't need any privileged access to anything in DSP's life to look at this document and go, "I can look at A and B and see a contradiction."
Yeah,
and you shouldn't have that.
Within 2 years, did you give financial statement to anyone about your business? Financial institutions, creditors, or other parties? This has got to be a lie. This has got to be a lie. Because I bet he's represented his self-employment income to get credit in the past 2 years.
Maybe, unless he's had these credit cards rolling for more than 2 years, which is a possibility.
It's a possibility.
He could have got. I mean, I don't think the WWE Champions thing started until last year or the year before, so he could have just plunged himself into debt over that into an unsustainable level of interest and had on cards that existed before the last 2 years. So I can't say for certainty that that's wrong.
Yeah. No additional pages. So yes, here's his penalty of perjury declaration. Again, these are always overstated. These are maximum penalties. So even if they found him guilty of some sort of perjury, he's not.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the max, but
he's not going to deal with that type of stuff.
People are really like wanting him to go to jail and stuff, but it's like they don't throw people in jail over shit like this. They just don't, because it doesn't. It costs the government money. It costs the government money to put someone in jail, and they want money, so they're going to have him out there, and they want him to twerk on Twitch.
It can't happen though.
From his pay pigs.
You can't go to jail for bankruptcy fraud.
I think they're going to try and convert this to a Chapter 13. I mean, almost guaranteed.
Well,
the creditors are going to ask questions about it.
The resident lawyer on the forum, he says that if it's so bad that it looks like Phil is disrespecting the court, they'll just say you can't file for bankruptcy. This is like a spit in our face, and then let the creditors tear him apart. Basically,
they can sanction you in that way if they think it's too egregious, but they'll probably give him a chance to correct it. But the creditors are likely going to object to what he's filed here and say, nope, we want Chapter 13.
Yeah, we want 13. He's got to pay us.
Yeah.
So, for over 5 years. But
that'd be the worst thing possible for him.
He may not qualify for 13 because he probably makes too much money.
So here's where he says what he wants to do. So his mortgage, he wants to retain the property and enter into I accidentally, whatchamacallit? It's a reaffirmation agreement. Accidentally, when I did the redaction, it caught this piece too. But it's a reaffirmation agreement. So I affirm I'm going to keep paying you. That's what
anything for that green.
The Midland mortgage. This is the one on the Connecticut place. He wants to surrender the property, which he's
trying to.
Oh, and someone pointed out, I forgot about this, is that in his stream where after this got out, he had to address it. He actually called in sick when it just got filed. So he comes back the day after, I think on the Monday following, and he basically says that all these fucking nerds on websites out there are analyzing every line of this legal filing because they have no lives, right? He goes on this rant, and then he says that he didn't fill it out, his lawyer did. So he blames every issue, every mistake in this document on his lawyer.
Rude. Very rude. This is someone who allegedly practices bankruptcy law and is engaging in like very basic errors of no sole proprietorship or self-employment, but sole proprietorship and self-employment.
Yeah, I mean, if he goes into court, okay, this is another question that someone had that I just remembered. If he goes to court and he blames his errors on the conduct of his attorney, does the attorney then have recourse against him?
Only if the judge is trying to assign sanctions to the attorney. That would be a really stupid thing to do in court. You could say stuff like that on Twitch all day, but throwing your attorney under the bus in court, and your attorney can throw themselves under the bus. That's a different story. It would be a mess. It'd be a mess. Toyota. He wants to retain the Toyota.
I'm gonna try to get your Toyota.
Personal property.
Let's see if that works. So.
And then sign below.
Again, with the Toyota, you have a limit of $3,250.
Got the $245 filing fee.
It's like $15,000 Toyota.
$75 administrative fee and $15 trust surcharge.
Up in the air if he's going to keep that.
$335 that he has to pay.
Terrible heartless
filing fee and then $550 administrative fee. Got to pay $1,717.
Mid-First has filed a lot of shit against him.
He's requested to pay that over time, and that's been granted.
He can't pay a $350 filing fee for his own bankruptcy, so they have to give him a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't make sense. But if he doesn't, here's the thing. With these things, I don't believe his actual bankruptcy protection fully kicks in until he has paid the entire fee.
Okay. So, well, you better get on that because the people in Connecticut ain't waiting for him.
Yeah. It's a mess.
I'll say Mid-First Bank is coming after him hard.
Individuals with regular income. Okay, so these are file your forms on time. Credit counseling. I think the rest is just informational stuff. Here we go. Disclosure of compensation of attorney for debtors.
But you don't need to go through Chapter 7. You can just file for Chapter 13.
$1,200.
People say, oh, maybe he's doing 7, so it gets told no, they can file for 13.
So they can pay that, fine.
But you can just file for 13.
Source of the compensation was the debtor. I have not agreed to share the above disclosed compensation. So
it makes
with any
no
other person
sense.
As their members or an associates of my
just
law
file
firm.
for 13, dude.
So she's not splitting that $1,200, that sweet $1,200 with anyone else. I've agreed to render legal services for all aspects of the bankruptcy case, including.
Yes, he doesn't want 13 because they actually pay him back.
Creditors to reduce the market value. Reduced
and
to
if he
market
misses
value.
one payment,
planning, preparation,
he
filing
gets
of reaffirmation agreements and applications as needed.
Harder than a newly 18-year-old in a firstborn.
522 F2A for avoidance of liens on household goods. And then representation of the debtors. This does not include the following services. Representation of the debtors in any dischargeability actions, judicial lien avoidances, relief from state actions, or any other adversary proceeding. So if the creditors really come after him for the filing,
he's screwed. That's not covered.
Yeah, she's not going to represent him.
Oh my God. They're guaranteed to come after him. There's no way. There's no way at least one of the... Because, okay, if it was just like one or two...
Yeah, there it is.
Debtors,
she's not representing his ass in court.
It would get overlooked and say, yeah, he's insolvent, whatever. But there's no way not one of the 14 different banks or institutions or whatever are going to look at these and say, there's no way we can't milk this for more. There's no way we can't get that house.
Yeah, I mean, they should be looking at it. And they should look at the errors on the forms, and those errors should make them very suspicious. Right? Even if you don't think... even if you... How do I word this? just seeing a bunch of little nitpicky errors when he has an attorney should make them go, why are there errors on this stuff? That there shouldn't be any errors here. This isn't that complicated.
This was professionally filed. It should be. It should be, nuts and bolts should be all secured.
Yeah.
But
okay, so 7 to 13, but
community question.
If you want 13, you can just apply for 13.
Will there be?
But he wants 7 because
he
thinks he'll just get rid of all his debt without losing the house or paying everyone back.
Recordings, probably not.
Audio recordings?
Audio recordings would be unlikely, but transcripts might be possible.
Can we ask the courthouse to especially this is of public interest, sir. This is the founder of Let's Plays. We need
someone could go to the hearing and request permission to record.
I will mail you a 4K camera and set up your YouTube account so that you can live stream this bankruptcy hearing because we're all very curious.
No, it's you'd have to get the court's permission to record the court hearing unless you went in with an incognito mic and recorded just the audio,
like a trench coat and fedora.
Yeah, well, usually they make you take off any overcoats that you're wearing, so you'd have to wear a suit coat and be really
they're hiding the content from us. We need to get
bastards.
It's possible that a transcript would be recorded, and those transcripts a lot of times can just be purchased by whoever.
Yeah, the transcripts can be purchased, which Key Farms already said they're going to do.
But,
all right, we'll have to inquire with the clerk of court. So we desperately need this recorded.
I know there's a million people who are going to be watching Pacer on this. Or no, this is filed in state court, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
State court.
Oh, I wonder how hard it's. Well, no, there's a Pacer Monitor had it, so I guess you file it in federal bankruptcy court, but you just use the laws of Washington State. So people are going to be following this on Pacer or whatever. When there is a transcript available, it usually there's an entry that comes up, and it gives you a phone number on where you can call and order the transcript. So if people are desperately seeking it, that's
which we
can
are.
watch for that on Pacer.
At least Kiwi Farms.
As soon as I mentioned this, someone has DM'd me on Twitter to inform me that there's already a volunteer who will be at the court to live tweet it as it proceeds.
Good luck holding on to your phone.
Well, that's the attempt. We need to contact the court and get them to do it. And just email them look, do us a solid. You don't understand. Look at this video of this man trying to cook ramen noodle soup. You have to record this bankruptcy hearing.
Yeah. He's likely going to screw up in the courtroom in a way that you cannot predict, Judge, and you want to have this on film for yourself, if nothing else.
Fucking spoon to eat noodles.
That's a very lawyerly way of putting that. It's not for us. It's for you, sir.
Oh my God! What a disaster! What a disaster the internet has made. The sacred courthouse.
It's a circus. It's a clown car now.
You know what? What's actually could be really interesting about this is there could be people opting out of the public trial, the right to a public trial, because of the internet, not realizing how bad it is to not have public trials.
Yeah, to have what's that called, a bench trial when it's just the judge.
Well, no, I mean even bench trials are public trials, but just having them in closed doors or behind closed doors that's one of the things that we literally fought against England about was the secret courts.
Well, that's what when I argue with the Anglos, because I get into arguments with Anglos quite frequently, and they say it's so easy to dox people in the U.S. We have so much better privacy. It's well, when someone like Tommy Robinson gets arrested in the U.K., there's no public record of it. There's no public mugshot. There's no public arrest record. There's no information. He was in jail for 48 hours before he was allowed a phone call, and people knew what happened to him. It's there's no.
He was to court on March 5th.
Yes, you have less privacy overall, but you have more transparency with the government. People can audit your arrests and see if you've been abducted by the government,
Yeah, the question is your shame worth more than your life?
Yeah, exactly. And the Anglo, the wretched Anglo, such as it is, will always attest that it's better to trust the government than to trust the public.
Yeah,
I disagree.
I do not. I hate the FISA court. I hate everything about closed courts. If there's a closed court, the public doesn't get to verify that you actually got a fair process, because you just have to go by the government saying, "Oh yeah, we totally treated him fairly." That's perfect. If you have any problem with how any court case has been conducted and someone's gotten railroaded, then you should be for an open court, because at least you get to find out that someone got railroaded. But
there we are. I mean, I guess that's it. I have a big post. I think I've scanned through it. I think I got everything.
Yeah, I'm going to be interested to see what comes up. I really will. It'll be funny if there's actual opposition from the creditors who are like, wait a minute, we got some problems with this form.
That'd be great to have Hideo Kojima show as the judge.
Prove them up. This is just
what
really
a twist.
Convenient. So.
No, it is. Everything is listed in such a way that if this was just rubber stamped through, he would make it like a king. He keeps his house, he keeps his car, all his debt's gone. I guess he gets to keep his fucking WWE Champions account because he's going to audit that.
Yes.
He can be number 4 worldwide on WWE.
You know you want his account. You know you want it.
If I got his account, I would obviously live stream it and make that money back.
Yeah, that'd be great. Well, I got a bunch of chats if you want to hang out for a few.
Yeah, let me go to the bathroom because I literally just woke up just in time for this.
I'm gonna start going through them, and if there's one for you specifically, I'll wait for you.
Okay. All right. You're back.
Viden the Cold One says, "Hey, Nikki boy, can't wait for the show." Oh, me either. The Agrolith says, "Not sure how interested you'd be, but if you could go over the Punisher trial in Daredevil season 2, I'd like to hear your view on a slow day or a 10-minute upload if you haven't seen."
And from my understanding, according to what people said on Twitter, once they get done talking about DSP, they go on and just talk about random shit. So, I guess that's it for that one. God damn, he is so fucked. And mind you, this is an actual lawyer. This is a real lawyer going, yeah, he fucked that up. Yeah, that's fucked up. Oh yeah, he's in trouble for that one. Oh yeah, he should have marked that differently. Oh fuck. Therapy. God damn. Yeah, they should be looking at is what he applied for. Like, when you applied for this card, you said you made $300,000 a year. Well, dude, that's where my copyright strike, snort. Okay, goddamn. He is so screwed. I love having the internet. Be like, let's see, well, when I applied for your credit card, dude, was in 2012, just after I got done playing Skyrim. I made a lot of money that year, so I applied for your credit card, dude. I put 26 grand on it. But then Evil AJ came out with This How You Don't Play. Oh, wait. Views shot up for a couple months. Probably more than a couple. Probably like 3 or 4 months. Damn. So he's all, Evil AJ hurt me. He destroyed my career by coming out with This How You Don't Play. But he had a spike in views. And then dropped down again because he's the pig roach. Moves ran while he's already losing views. Jackie Chan bow strikes. Goddamn. Fucking hilarious. Yeah. Go trustee. Go creditors. God, I love it. And again, 99.9999999% sure he's not going to get in that much trouble. But you can go to jail for bankruptcy fraud. It is a thing. Like, this does happen. Rarely. But it can happen. That would be hilarious, Hicks. He actually does qualify for 7. They show up with the auditor and go, take that, and that. Dude, you can't take all my IKEA furniture. Do you have any idea how many thousands of dollars I put? Oh, shit. That's why they're taking it, because it cost me $2 grand. I'm gonna put Snort Bucks right next to the courthouse, and when he shows up, he just sees Snort Bucks right next to the courthouse. And please, because someone's already saying that they're going to be there. They're going to take pictures. They're going to take recordings of him at least walking into the courthouse. So please, someone, show up with signs like, DSP, get a job, Snort Bucks, James Lesser rules, just to piss him off. Can you imagine he's walking to the courthouse and there's like 30 people there with a bunch of signs trolling him? Ack, snort. It's gonna be great. Yeah, obviously they go through his shit. He's not gonna qualify for anything because he makes too much money. If he didn't spend 40 grand on WWE champions, he could pay a lot of this shit off in under a year. Well, actually, where do I have those forms? Got the forms around here somewhere. Are they under downloads? Aw, hell. Come on. Load. Here it is. Ooh, got it right first try. Why do I have so many PDFs in this one file? Anyways. Let's see, where do we get to the debts? Come on. God, there's a lot of pages here. Come on, where is it? No, you want it. Damn it, I got a song stuck in my head. IRS. Here we go. Ah, can I find this in a window? Window capture. Adobe? Hey, it worked. Awesome. Oh, since I'm in the way. So. Alright. You're going to tell me this jackass can't pay off a $1,000 bill. Again, the issue with he's going to have with Chapter 13 is they go, all right, well, how much can you afford? You can afford a third of what you owe, or you'll pay off a third in 5 years. But if he can pay it off normally without having to declare bankruptcy in under 5 years, they won't give him the bankruptcy. So right there, $1,128. Jasper Reveal. Jasper Reveal pays for that with money left over. So there's one bill gone. Right there. Bam. American Express. Gone. With just the Jasper Reveal money. The 6400 might be a little bit harder to pay off. But you get 3-4 marathon things. He can pay that off. So 5 marathons, let's say 2 months. He's got those 2 paid off. In 2 months, he has these 2 things paid off. That he ignores because it's too much. Jasper Reveal with the tips and cheers and subs he got during that. You're going to tell me, and then you throw in the Patreon money just for extra? Fuck. In 3 months, he has 3 of his things paid off. He has both of his American Express cards paid off, plus BMW Bank of America in 3 months. 3 months. That's gone. Holy shit. Again, that one's going to be a little harder to pay off. Same with that. That's where's the next cheapest. God damn, he has a lot of fucking debt. Okay, here's the next one. Prosper Marketplace. So let's see. In 3 months, we've already paid off 3 cards. So let's give it 2 more months. So now in 5 months, we've paid off, what, 4 of his things? 5 months, we've paid off 5 of his things. So let's give him 8 months. Gets that paid off. Holy shit, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he gets 6 things paid off in 8 to 10 months. Let's give him benefit dollars, let's give him 10 months. Motherfucker, let's give him a year. In a year, he gets all those paid off. Leaving him with that. Let's see, 26, 36, 40, 50, 58, 59, because of that. 73, 78, 88, 98, let's say 110. Alright, so in 1 year, he's down to $110,000. In 1 year. But now that he's got those paid off, those minimum payments, he doesn't have to pay anymore. And oh, wait! The condo. That's gone. Got foreclosed on, he owes them 60 grand. They make him do a payment plan on the 60 grand. But he's not paying 1830 a month for the Connecticut condo, plus condo dues, plus the electric, plus the property tax, plus all the other stuff that went with it. So mind you, we have an extra, let's say $2,000 for everything. Extra $2,000 a month? Well, shit. In a year, he has all that shit we've already said he paid off. Let's say there's 2.5 months. There's 5 months just from the Connecticut shit. 5, 6, 7. 8, 9. 9.5, actually. 10. Alright, so just the Connecticut stuff, you have all that, almost everything paid off except for a little bit of this left, plus the big ones. Oh, gee. Next year, he gets the rest of that paid off. He gets that paid off. Gets most of that paid off. Oh, gee, now by year 3, he gets the rest of that paid off. Gets all that paid off. Gets a good chunk of that paid off. Year 4, he gets the rest of that paid off. He gets all that paid off. Gets that paid off. And he's a little bit left, so now we're going into year 5. He gets the rest of that paid off. Leaving him with just this. That's if he only takes the $2,000 he's not spending on the Connecticut condo. He actually takes the rest of the money that he makes. He'll have all this shit paid off in under 5 years. Meaning he won't qualify for Chapter 13. Like, holy shit. Yeah, it's a year's worth of his salary. Are you shitting me? His parents won't show up. This is not their issue. Hey, Thyri, I know. She's having a bit of an issue. God damn. I mean, just crazy to think. And actually, he'd be saving more money by not paying on the condo because obviously the condo was like $1,800 plus $400 for condo dues plus electric plus property tax, all that. But again, this is a minimum of $2,000 savings. Let's say $131,000. 2,000 times 12 is 24. 24 times 5. 120. He'd be left with $11,000 in credit card debt. Gee, am I going to really let him declare bankruptcy over $11,000 if he only pays $2,000 a month towards his debts? No. God damn. Sheesh. At just $2,000 a month because he's no longer paying on the Connecticut condo, he'd only have $11,000 left. And that's if he only takes what he makes from the Connecticut condo. Obviously, he doesn't have $5,000 as business expenses. So let's make it 3. Oh, shit. By then, he has it all paid off. If you only do 3. Come on, do 3,000. God damn. That is just insane. He'd have it all paid off with like $50,000 left over. $50,000 left over if he only put $3,000 a month towards his debts. But yeah, he could put obviously more than that, but it makes his dad walk. Terrible. No, for me, I could not put $3,000 aside every month with my regular bills. He can, though. Because again, he doesn't have $5,000 in business expense. He has maybe $1,000. If you want to be generous, $1,000 a month. So let's see. Get rid of the Connecticut condo, so he only has the Washington condo plus dues for all that. So let's say $2,000. Utilities $1,000. Business expenses $1,000. Random. So he has $5,000 in expenses every month. Well, gee, he averages $9,700 a month. Take out some taxes. He still has plenty left over. And that's not counting the specials where he gets, $2,000 in tips in just one stream. $2,000 in tips in one stream? I wonder. No, they went over that in the video, and someone already told me here that that's not part of what he paid for. He paid her merely to take the form, rubber stamp it, and send it in. So she will not be there to represent his ass. That is fucking hilarious. Let's see, I wonder where... Oh yeah, combined monthly income. Was this supposed to be... Wait a minute, was this supposed to be gross or net? Yeah, gross. This monthly gross wages. Before her gross wages was $1,700. Now it's $1,300. Huh. Interest and dividends? Where the fuck? Where's his money at? God, this form is such a fuck up. Because again, it says list gross, not net. So gross right here should be $9,700 just from him. So over, goddamn, almost $11,000 a month in gross income. And yet somehow he can't afford to pay anything. Holy shit. He can't no-show. He no-shows. It's automatically thrown out. He loses. And the creditors rip him to pieces. God damn. Almost $11,000 a month average between the two, and they can't afford to pay anything. Are you kidding me? That is just insane. Like, how? That is $132,000 a year before taxes. Well, he's gonna pay taxes. Yeah. Alright, fine. 132,000 times. Mind you, upper bracket is 37%. Obviously, they're not gonna be paying that. So let's go with 30%. 39,000. So let's drop that to 40,000. Minus 40,000. Wait, oops, took off a zero. Oh, $92,000 combined. Let's say 5K each, so 60 grand. Minus 60 grand. Oh, he still has $32,000 a year to spend on something other than his bills. Let's see. Divided by 12. $2,666.66. So fine, he only puts $2,000 a month towards his bills. This shit gets paid off. I don't know how he thinks he's going to qualify for 7 or even 13. He's not even going to qualify for 13 at this point. Like, he doesn't even qualify for 13 at this point. He makes too much fucking money. Fucking Christ, people. He'll never only shop at Walmart, dude. And oh shit. Thanks for mentioning Mama Brunel. Mind you, the money that we see, the 9,700, is not mentioning Mommy sending him money. It's not mentioning behind the scenes shit. Because we know he gets behind the scenes tips. Stroke Anime Girl is awesome, isn't she? I love Face Rig. But yeah, holy shit. So, alright, fine, make it 11 grand just from him, so $12,000 a month. 12 grand a month. Like, holy shit. $144,000 a year, and they can't live off of that. Times 0.3, so 43.2, so we'll just make it 43. Gee, $101,000 divided by 12. Minus the 60 grand for expenses. 41,000 divided by 12. Now he's up to $3,400. He's up to $3,400 a month extra. Gee, you take 3 grand, pay off your shit. Yeah, to put him on the payment plan. Like, wait a minute, but he owes $15,000. So if she gave him 10 grand for the payment plan, and he still owes 15 grand, so his payment plan started at $25,000? Holy shit. Ooh. Now you're talking theory. Obviously, it'd be more than enough for them, but he's an idiot. Holy shit, can you imagine having that much money coming and still be a broke-ass bitch? God damn. I just cannot imagine spending that much money. My God. Fuck me, that's a lot. Of course, the PayPal account that he's hiding. Mind you, he has 2 of them. Sad piano music. We know 40K went to WWE Champions. Probably know that 40K went to Supercard, Dokkan Battle, Final Fantasy, Marvel Heroes. So at least 80 grand went to Gacha games. Yes, I'm waiting for GGG to show up with this. But you know what? I've been doing... God, how long has this stream been? Ah, shit. 2.5 hours already. Well, I think with that, guys, let the song play, and I'll see you guys out. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for watching me. Holy shit, I had a lot of people show up today. If you want to support me, check out my books. They're all on Amazon. Oh, wait, there's no link to it. Oh, no. Because of the new way that they do this shit, you can't put shit down. Fuck, I hate YouTube. So just check out my books. Or check out my Patreon. Of course, there's always Streamlabs. There's Super Chat. Check out my Twitter. I usually post a lot of bullshit on there, but sometimes I'm entertaining. Check out my Twitter. This is actually not Life is Strange music. It sounds like it. When I first heard it, I thought that too. Yes. Oh, a GTG face rig? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. No, not you. We want GTG face rig, right? 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 Right. Wait, no, you guys hate that. Easily amused. God damn. Well, thank you, Sunspot. I always look gorgeous. Sit with my buddies out to me, but I want to go get food. Well, guys, again, thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for hitting the thumbs up. And as always, there's no sharp suit for the puppy. Unfortunately. Woof woof. Oh wait, I almost forgot the best part of waking up. How could I forget the best part of waking up, guys?
Oh, what that aroma can do, brighter day for me and you. The best part of waking up is in your cup.
You're welcome, guys. Easily amused. I love face rig. It's not even that expensive. I got it on sale for like 8 something. Alright. Now I'm gone. I'm done. I'm gonna go see what my buddy wants to do today. So as always, like, subscribe, comment down below, and have a wonderful day.